Assessor Moreland Cry. Here. Highway Commissioner Kazmierczak. Here. Clerk Giovanni is here. Supervisor Moraz.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Carabota. Here. Trustee McKenzie.
Here.
Trustee Sweeney.
Here.
And the first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the January 23rd, 2018 Bill 8 review. May I have a motion?
A motion to approve the minutes of the January 23rd bill pay?
Yes. Do I have a second?
A second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Giovanni, will you call the roll?
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes. Moving along, may I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the regular January 23rd, 2018 board meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting, general board meeting of January 23, 2018.
And may I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion, addition, corrections, or deletion?
I do have one, if I can.
Sure.
Under the agenda items, center of the page, there's the statement, Trustee Carabota stated that he attended TOCC trustee division meeting, January 18th period, that's perfect. He added that during the presentation by he and Trustee Sweeney gave a nice input about accomplishments. If we can delete the words "and difficulties," that was said. So the accomplishments of our township, which included the cut in the levies. So we delete the words "and difficulties" and put in there accomplishments, including the cutting of the levies.
Okay.
Including what?
The cutting of the levy.
Everybody in agreement?
Yes.
Okay. Any other amendments, corrections, deletions? Hearing none, Clerk Giovanni, can you call it?
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes. So now I would like a motion for approval of the minutes of the February 12th, 2018 special board.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 12th, 2018 special board meeting.
And can I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes. All right, and now we have, at this time, an opportunity for public participation. Also, please note that you can do public participation at any time on any agenda item. Is there any request at this time for public participation? Hearing none, we will move to...
There it is.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Can you just identify yourself?
Hi, I'm Larry Garber, Evanston, Illinois.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
What did you say?
Oh, when you, since the last time you never changed the rules.
Oh,
Just come up here.
okay. All right.
So everybody can hear us.
Perfect.
If that's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is actually dealing, I think, with an agenda item that I believe, review and upgrade safety measures focused on making Maine Township a heart discussion and possible vote. I'm going to do this now because I actually have another engagement to go to. So this is a letter I wrote to the board. My name is Blair Garber, 1200 Lee Street, Evanston, Illinois. Members of the Township Board. Since security measures of Maine Township employees and the public are concerned, I'm proposing the most cost-effective and surest way to prevent an incident that we know. Take a razor blade and scrape the no-gun zones off the doors. There's never been a single indoor mass shooting in anything but a gun-free zone since gun-free zones started being popularized and posted. This is serious. There has not been one single incident outside of a gun-free zone, not one. If the township is really serious about the ultimate security, I will offer to teach and certify 10 board members and/or township employees free of charge for my instruction. They will only pay range fees and ammunition costs. Courses include a minimum of 16 hours classroom and range instruction, shooting and passing a specified qualification, all requirements for applicants for the Illinois Concealed Carry Firearm License. I am an Illinois Concealed Carry instructor. My qualifications are as follows: defensive and action pistol shooting since 1984, certified NRA pistol instructor, NRA certified home firearm safety instructor, NRA certified personal protection in the home instructor, NRA certified personal protection outside the home instructor, Chapman Academy graduate basic and advanced pistol, Gunsight Academy graduate basic pistol, advanced pistol, and combat shotgun. In addition to those certifications, I've attended yearly classes in order to keep my skill level up. And I am an Illinois certified concealed carry firearms instructor and a Utah certified concealed firearms instructor. So now that I've read that into the record, I'll be happy to give the board members a copy and anybody else who's interested. So here, these are for the board members. These. And if anybody else needs one, okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I'd like to see if we can to have this made part of the...
Sure, you want to run a diary?
Post this part of the record for the board meeting today. Mr. Garber, do you know what the average cost would be of these classes per student that you're offering to give? What's the market price for would it normally cost someone like myself?
Anywhere between $200 and $300 is the usual fee for a course. And let's see, so if I'm offering you free instruction and you're just going to pay for ammunition, the ammunition is, let's see, $20 per 100. That's $60 in ammunition costs and probably another $60 in range fees. And that's only because my courses, we shoot a lot. So a lot of classes, you only shoot the minimum, which is the qualification of 30 rounds. Sometimes they'll allow you to shoot twice, so you only have experience shooting 60 rounds. My classes, students typically shoot 300 rounds over the 16 hours. And they also do everything from the holster. Since, you know, the idea is concealed carry, you're going to be wearing a holster. Everything I teach is from a holster.
Mr. Garber, your proposal on Dave's agenda, I think it was Trustee Carabota's agenda item to redo or revamp and revisit the security measures here, including scanners and things like that. And your proposal, just so I'm clear, is that you get 10 employees to be concealed carry holders and teach them and arm them?
Yeah, that would, yeah.
Okay.
And to make this not a gun-free zone, so this is no longer a soft target.
But given state law, the way it's constituted, is that even illegal to carry a gun in here as an employee?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's up to the jurisdiction. I think it's particularly true if you guys have home rule that you can,
We don't.
your own public
We
buildings.
don't have home rule.
Okay, well then, I think there's no restriction that I know of that you couldn't say, that you couldn't exempt your employees, the ones that have concealed carry permits.
I'm sorry, but I actually, and I'm not here to disagree, I appreciate your public comment. Cook County does have a rule, to my knowledge, that you cannot have a gun in a government building.
What you're saying, well, whatever is that, you'll train, you'll handle all the training.
Right.
That'll result in certification. Of course, you start off with the FOID card, it results in certification.
Correct.
And then it's going to be pretty much the burden on us is to make sure that it is to try to make this a gun-free zone facility. that will accommodate those that are properly armed and trained.
Right, exactly. And I mean, it's, in terms of cost, the cost is negligible compared to scanners, security, you know, it just goes on and on and on. You're adding employees, you're adding, you know, benefits, salaries, equipment, you know, the equipment goes down. Any hard target, there's a way to get around it. You know, it's hard to harden a facility completely. You know, you would have to bolt and shut every window, every door, everything, and it would, you know, it still doesn't really stop someone who's intent on coming in here.
Do you know of other townships that allow concealed carry?
In Illinois,
Well, let's start with other townships.
I'm sure there are other townships that allow it. I mean, there are 15 states that allow their teachers to carry concealed in schools.
How about Illinois? Do you know of any Illinois government?
No, I don't have any personal knowledge of any. The other thing, you know, at one point, I believe that township governments had a position of constable at one time. If that's still on the books, if it's still on the statute, you could always revamp that and deputize these people.
The concern is if someone came in here just now, right through those double glass doors, what's going to happen? What could any one of us do?
And
Which I would like to welcome
That's
our
10 yards.
first police officer. Thank you so much.
so that's roughly 10 yards from here to the door, maybe 15. So at 15 yards, I could put 2 shots in the center of mass in less than 2 seconds from the draw.
That's the challenge that our police have.
Right.
Is because of the, and we did invite Park Ridge to be here, police, and I very much appreciate that. But we're not going to always have that blessing. And that was the concern that was raised by my memo asking to add this to the agenda in attending Commander Bauer's funeral in the backdrop of Bush Florida shooting, that we have a familial township here, and they have to be protected. They have to be protected. That's what my concern is. And I want something that's effective. I want something that's correct. I don't want anything in front of the word correct. I don't want it politically correct, maybe correct, kind of correct. I'm looking for correct.
Well, the great thing about concealed carry and having multiple employees is they're in different parts of the building. So it would be impossible for someone to overcome the security. If you had a security guard and someone knew that guard's whereabouts and knew what their actions were, then, you know, that's the first logical target. You know, especially if it's uniformed armed security. So, you know, once that target is taken care of, then you've got free reign. So the beauty of concealed carry is that you have multiple employees in different parts of the building, and that's the kind of security that you can't overcome. And like I said, there has never been an incident, never been an incident that has taken place in anything but a posted gun-free zone. The Aurora shooter in Aurora, Colorado, drove past 7 movie theaters that were closer to his home to get to the first movie theater that was posted no firearms. That's the one he decided to attack.
Unlike the Colorado movie theater, and I think this has to get ended because it's a 5-minute limit.
It is an interesting,
We're a government, and we simply cannot, under existing law, have guns in the building. And if Cook County changes that law, I mean, it didn't stop the killer in Commander Bauer's case, state of Illinois.
In the state of Illinois, you have a criminal that's not going to listen to any law that you ever
But
have.
they never are.
And that's a gun-free zone in the state of
Well, the
Illinois.
gun-free zone I agree with, but the point is, even if we all wanted to arm 10 of our employees, A, you'd have to find 10 that wanted to be armed.
Right.
And B, there's the matter of it being a government building.
I did a quick research here. have a list of all the entities that can't have concealed carry.
Can or cannot?
Cannot.
Cannot.
Any building or portion of a building under the control of a unit of local government. So we can't do it even if you were willing
That's what I
to
was
train us. At least in terms of this building, maybe outside this building. That's pretty explicit. There's a whole list of them, probably too many.
No, I know the list, but it is, I'm also sure that there's a way around it.
Well, that-
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you for
You're
joining
welcome.
First
us.
offer.
You're welcome, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Can I have a motion for approval of the general assistance expenditure?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 26, 2018, February 9, 2018, and February 23, 2018, and general assistance checks number 51109 through check number 5160 in the amount of $77,322.68.
Is there a second?
A second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Moving on, can I have a motion for approval of road district expenditures?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 26, 2018, February 9, 2018, and February 23, 2018, and road district checks 2002-04 and check 2002-62 in the amount of $158,821.85.
Is there a second?
Second?
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
And Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
And finally, can I have a motion for approval of general town fund expenditure?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 26, 2018, February 9, 2018, and February 23, 2018, and general town fund checks number 55657 through check 55751 in the amount of $399,708.27.
A second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you please call the roll?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
All right. And now we move to a part that is great. We have the distinct honor tonight to honor an Eagle Scout, Matthias Coker. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
Matthias, I apologize. Who is here with his mother, and I'm going to call him up, and Carol Ling, and he had an Eagle Scout project. And in the Eagle Scout project, he actually created this cart that we use now in general assistance.
He made two of them.
Wow.
I did two of them. One downstairs is loaded with stuff, and I was not about to unload it being there.
Matthias, if you, can
So-
you explain the actual project?
If you'd like to come and sit on this,
Looks like you're all-
and
all
we'll stand.
You can't get the handicap part.
I'm gonna try. But no, this is, he came to me, he said he had an Eagle Scout project, what could he do for the food pantry? We looked at the building, we looked in the pantry, I'm like, I said, how about carts? And because I need carts to, first of all, transport, second of all, to make the boxes that people get on a regular basis. So this is, you know, a decent height that, you know, you can make them, move them, make them, move them, so.
So you built the whole thing?
Everything.
And it's got a drawer?
No, that's the
Oh,
handle.
It's a handle.
And these wheels rotate and lock. I
They
mean-
lock as well, so they
Yeah.
can be used as workbenches as well if needed.
And you make how many of them?
Two.
Can we put them in production?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
How long did it take you to make
Yeah,
those?
tell us a little bit more.
It took me about Construction took 2 long days of 9 hours and 7 hours because we repainted over with a bunch of primer and whatnot, and that took a long time to dry. And we used expensive casters that can weigh up to 300 pounds. And pretty
And
much,
they lock.
yeah, they lock too, so it's always nice to be able to have something that's able to be mobile and stationary at the same time without having 2 different things, so.
So did you have a plan, or did you create the plan yourself?
We had a plan and then it kept on getting changed to fit the needs, because like the dimensions obviously needed to be changed based on the doors within the building and the elevator itself. So things changed as it went on, so.
If you want a page through, say your leisure, I don't know, this shows everything.
Oh, excellent.
Everything, from going to Home Depot, to receipts, to returns, to, when he came in with these, you would have thought somebody gave me $1 million. I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. But they're fabulous and we use them. That's why they're very cool.
Are we ready for Shark Tank?
Yeah.
See, I could use one in my backyard.
Now, I would like to read the Township of Maine proclamation honoring. I hate when people mispronounce me. Proclamation honoring Matthias Coker. Whereas Matthias Matt Coker is an 18-year-old Maine South High School senior who resides in the city of Park Ridge, County of Cook, Township of Maine, and State of Illinois. And whereas at a very young age, Matt expressed an interest in joining the scouting program. And whereas Matt joined the scouting program and continued through the various ranks of scouting. And whereas Matt completed his mandatory Eagle project by building 2 movable work carts for the Maine Township food pantry. And whereas on December 16, 2017, Matt was awarded the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas the Boy Scouts of America have a proud tradition of producing the next generation of leaders for our communities and our nation. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Laura J. Marask, Supervisor of Maine Township, along with the Maine Township Board, do hereby honor and commend Matthias Matt Coker for his resourcefulness and for his invaluable contribution to our community. His significant accomplishments are a testament to his remarkable commitment, strong values, and community spirit, and we wish him success in all his future endeavors. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand, and Peter G. Lamas, Clerk of Maine Township, is hereunto caused the seal of Maine Township to be affixed this 25th day of February 2000. You gotta take a picture. Here's the Vermont. Yes. And Carol.
Whoa. Oh, here. How's that?
My daughter's still a problem, so she's got a ways to go.
I got another.
Is it okay to leave everybody?
Oh, you want her?
Yeah.
Come on.
You get the
Alright, great. Take a few. Stand over to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then 2 more. 1, 2, 3. And we'll say Eagle Scouts.
Great job. Best of luck.
Yes. Oh, well. She can't see. Yeah. Okay, go out of the way. And this is. Okay, so let's push this out of the way.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yes, congratulations, really great job.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to move to officials report. And I will start with Assessor Meyer.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just giving you a report. Maybe wondering about the sticks that came right in front of me. And I'll tell you about that in a couple minutes. Just want to tell you what has happened, what I have been doing and with my assessor's office has been doing in the last month. I attended the Cook County Township Assessors Association meeting, and I was nominated and voted to be on the board for that association. And I'm looking forward to working with my fellow assessors. We already talked about digitizing our files, which would be a good thing for our office and other township offices within Cook County. We will be working on finding out information on that and seeing if collectively we can do something together where it would be cost effective for all of us. We do have guest speakers at that meeting, and it included Lumi Leofsky, which is from CCAO, and Tom Scheer, he's a deputy assessor for communications. They continually to give us, we always get updated information, and they also field our questions. Believe it or not, there's different scenarios and situations that come among us between the assessors that we have to deal with in the townships, and they're able to provide us some assistance with that. We also had Pete Farrahard give us info on our Assessors Information Manager program. It has new updates coming up on the horizon, and we're getting sales from Cook County Recorder of Deeds, which we were not getting before, so we will have that, and we will have a new tracking system. So that's very promising. We still have to wait for Cook County Recorder of Deeds to get up on that, so we can institute that within the programs within our office. So that's very, very promising for us. We're looking forward to it. Well, not even 2 months ago, when we started our year, we are surpassing numbers in our previous years of 2016, which was our triennial assessment, and also 2017. We are at 28% of 2016 and 34% of 2017 for visits to our office. And this is actually up to February 12th, where we took that from and actually started on January 8th. So that gives us about 26 days that we've been working. I mean, we're still working, but the numbers are from those dates. And we are at least 28% of 2016 and 34% of 2017 for office visits. We are at 12% of certificate of errors for 2016 and 11% for 2017. And this is an impressive number. We are at total exemptions 94% of 2016 and 74% of 2017. So far, we've surpassed senior freeze exemptions in 2016 and soon to surpass 2017 in numbers. These are the exemptions my office we've done together for our residents so far, just from January 8th to February 12th. We do these in a filing system, we audit them, we make sure that they are actually in to the assessor's office, and then we make sure that they do put those into the tax bills for the second installment. So we keep apprised of that constantly. So you can see that we've been quite busy. Another thing about Maine Township Assessor's Office, that we have documented savings to the residents of the township for 2017 of $578,395.52 for filing a certificate of errors. So our savings to our residents, and these are, a lot of it is a discovered part within my office. Because not only do we see that they have their exemption and fill out exemptions for them, but we look for previous years if they have received them. And sometimes those people have not. And you know what? They're due that money. I mean, they were allowed those exemptions. They didn't have them. We research it, we research the data, we make sure they get those. And we're able to go back 3 years to obtain that money for them. The 2016 and 2017 budget for the assessor's office was $350,930. Okay, let's do the math on that a little bit. That's approximately 8% of the general town line item on your tax bill. I've got examples on that in no particular order. Sorry to start with the supervisor, yes. But you paid $5.61 for the assessor's office for the 2016 tax bill.
Well, that was well worth
And Clerk Gialamas, you paid $4.94. Highway Commissioner Kazmierczak, you paid $3.64. I paid $5.61. Trustee Jones paid $5.54. Trustee Carabota paid $6.09. Trustee Sweeney paid $7.67. Sorry, Trustee McKenzie, yours is a little bit higher. You've got a nice house. $17.79.
Wow. I must live in a shack.
Yeah, you really do.
You really do. I'm starting to feel bad about my house.
So that was, the commissioner, highway commissioner, has a condo, so. But anyway, so that was on the line item for the 2016 tax bill. So I just wanted to point that out to you, and I want to call a couple reminders to the audience and to our residents and to our board that the first installment taxes are due March 1st, which can be paid at Chase Bank. The treasurer's office is not putting that out there. They really don't want people to know that. They want you to pay online, and they're waiving the $1 fee to do that. Normally they did that. If you pay by credit card, you have a 2.5% fee, so you will still be privy of that. You have to pay that. But they have to pay Chase Bank, and they want to finally, they want to get rid of that. But you have to realize how many people in our township that don't have computers. They can't pay online. So,
Is Chase, did you, we may have said this and I missed it, but can you do quick pay on Chase?
no, you have to bring your bill in.
Okay.
You have to physically bring your bill in.
And you still get assessed.
They have to have your PIN number, they have to have the amount.
You can pay it online directly to
The
assessors or the
Right.
treasurer's
But
office.
you're still gonna, for the residents' sake, to know, you're still gonna pay the 2 or 3% credit card fee. With Chase Quick Pay.
2.5% credit card,
Okay.
but you can do a bank check,
Oh, an 18, okay, 18.
and then you can, yes.
Double check, yes.
And then you waive that, they waive the $1 fee, they used to charge that because they want more people to go online and do that, okay?
That's good.
We have a tentative date to open for Cook County Assessor for our appeals. That is May 4th. But like I said, it's a tentative date because of their schedule and how fast they get things done. Might be a week before, a week after, so we're just asking people to give us a call or check the Cook County Assessor site. And they do have the dates on there, and they, a lot of times they change them. So we never have that in stone. We never know when our exact dates will be. And our office is open to let everybody know too. We're open for business Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. And 4 to 5, we do administration and phone calls. So all our filing And everything is done between that hour, 4 to 5, and phone calls that we miss throughout the day, which we do have a lot of. We take care of that business at that time. And assessor price hours are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at Maine Township. So thank you, that's my report, and we'll put these back in the files tonight and go from there. Hope you have a good night, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Assessor Craig. Highway Commissioner Jones.
Well, I think,
It's your check.
Oh my God.
$3.
Skip it. Yes, Highway Commissioner Kester. My pleasure.
This past month, we've had as much snow as we've had in quite a while, 18 inches in essentially 7 or 8 days. There was 9 days consecutive appreciable or measurable snowfall, which tied a record, consecutive days of appreciable snowfall. So there was a lot of weekend plowing, and a holiday fell in there, so that's more expensive if people have to work on a holiday. So it was very busy. That kind of dominates everything else when there's snow. But we were very lucky in the sense that most people appreciated our work. A couple of complaints are inevitable, but I think we got more praise than criticism. And on top of that, there were no destroyed mailboxes, and apparently just one but rear view mirror was knocked down, but that's always debatable. Sometimes you give people the benefit of the doubt. So, it's a shame we have to pay all that overtime, but we had the resources to do it, and winters should only last a couple more weeks. It's supposed to snow again on Thursday. But I think we had it under control both fiscally and in terms of the work that we did. Also, I wanted to bring out a fact that you're probably aware, or at least the board is aware, that we've been using auctions for equipment and vehicles in certain instances. We found another way of utilizing the internet auction process and saving some money. I got about a half a dozen examples in the last 6 weeks. Some of them didn't appear in this month's bill packet because they arrived too late, but they'll be paid next month. Just give you a couple of examples of what the kind of money you can save on a government website that serves as an auction. There was 5 gallons of heavy-duty concentrated cleaner used for trucks. I have a slip of paper here, but anyway, I'll do it off the top of my head. Essentially, the 4 items that we had here generally would cost on another website, a conventional website, $1,600. The amount that we paid in an auction for the same material was something like $524. So that's a savings of over $1,100 just on a few items. This one was a $55 plastic drum of diesel fuel. The ones that I had marked are in here, but then trust me that, I'll just mention off the top of my head this 55 barrel drum of, it was concrete and also garage floor cleaning fluid, which is expensive.
That sounds very scary, that somebody would want to buy it.
Well, you gotta clean the floor, you just can't.
I'm talking about the kind of.
You can't let the garage have too much oil and grease. So anyway, this thing costs $550 on a conventional website, we paid under $150 for it. So that's a tremendous savings for utilizing the auction. So we're going to continue to do that. We've got some nice, huge wrenches that are so big I can't lift them. And there's a tremendous savings on that as well.
Is the auction only open for a certain amount of time?
Well, essentially it is. I mean, you bid on something and there's a time limit.
Oh,
Then you have to pick it up. You know, that's a cost factor. It's not delivered to you.
yeah, that's a big savings.
But it's only for government entities, private individuals can utilize it. And there's a savings, and you make a couple trips to Round Lake and you can really score some tools. And to my knowledge, we haven't utilized that fully in the past, but you know, based on what we've done in the last 5 or 6 weeks, we're going to continue to scour the auction internet and see if we can pick up comparable savings. Unfortunately, the slips of paper I had attached to the examples I can't find. That's off the top of my head. And you know, virtually the 6 or 7 invoices I had here have comparable savings. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Bobby,
Yeah.
I have a question.
What's that?
Did you put the road on the agenda for spring?
Yeah,
You told me to remind you.
that's
Between
prioritized
all-
as the second most likely to be done.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's like our main thing. You asked me to remind you, so I know.
We definitely have to do one a couple blocks north of Washington and Gulf, because they have flooding problems there.
And so does Sumac.
Yeah, so,
That's bad.
you know,
Right
what
at
the
Emerson?
type of material used like 20 years ago isn't the same.
No, this wasn't 20 years ago.
No.
I do want
No,
to
I
compliment the snow removal.
Mhm.
Outstanding. Nobody comes close to our department, I'll tell you. They do a great job.
All you have to do is, some of these roads, west of Western, and we handle east of Western. And a couple of days after snowfall, you have huge snow amounts on the Park Ridge side, and on the unincorporated side, it's going dry.
We walk it all the time, I know.
And,
You guys do a great job with snow removal. I've had Uber drivers ask me, who does this?
And,
So I know you do a good job.
Yeah.
But I do think if you could look right at the intersection of Sumac and Emerson, there's a big, it's like a valley, and they just did that not too long ago. I don't know if somebody did,
How many years ago?
I don't know, 3, 4, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, one thing I should probably mention, we've intensified towing and ticketing for vehicles that violate the ordinance about the 2 inches of snowfall, or the no parking during snow. And probably towed in excess of 50 cars.
Well, the guy with the big white truck, he went to the snow bar. But he still parks there all the time.
Yeah. Well, you can't get them all, but anyway, it's already amounted to over $1,600 worth of fines that we've collected. You know, which helps pay for the overtime, and there's plenty of other outstanding tickets that still have to be paid. The money has to be pursued. Well, yeah, I should really, I'm very light on the phrase sometimes, but Mike wrote those tickets and coordinated everything with our towing company, Lidmark.
Mike does an outstanding job too.
Yeah.
You said 2 thumbs up. Here we go, thank you.
I give him 4 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up, there you go.
He does.
So, you know, that helps, because overtime is expensive, but if you can recoup because of people's problems about violating law and not adhering to the no parking, that really makes a dent.
Just one other thing. The park district right on Emerson there, the water comes down in constantly. You guys are out there salting it. all the time. There's gotta be something, an underground stream. I don't know, they've got to have somebody come and look at that. It's been going on forever. But that's dangerous, and you don't know it freezes, and somebody's gonna get hurt.
Was that on Park District?
Right, it's on Emerson, right in front of, where the mailbox is on Emerson.
Okay, well, I'll have Bob take a look at it.
He's
He's probably fully aware of it.
He's put salt on it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's getting worse. I don't know what's going on, but why should you have to do that?
It's
They
his
need
job.
to- Pardon me?
It's his job.
Pardon me?
It's his job.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think the problem is with the Park District, it's not normal runoff. It
We'll-
comes
we'll
up-
check
up-
into it, Sharon.
you'll-
I promise. We always do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That's it.
Clerk, do you want this?
In consideration of tonight's lengthy agenda, nothing to add to my written report.
All right. I'm going to go next. All right, so in the last month, we have been finishing up on the website redo, and our expected launch date is March 15th. We'll probably be ready prior to that. And obviously, everything is still accessible on the old one. The new one, though, I think will be much easier to handle. And I think that everybody had a preview at the last board meeting, and I think that it will be great. We also, as the board directed, after our vote for the aggregation, Doreen and I and Sharon Derling worked on the language for the opting out, which was the main concern, that the residents of unincorporated would be able to clearly see the opt-out language, but we're going one step further. I see you shaking your head there, Sharon. We're going one step further in actually handling any calls here, Doreen and Dana, with respect to any issues of opting out. And so I made it as big, as bold in the confines of what you all heard were the parameters. So that should be, and the board voted for it. So hopefully that will save the residents money, and please be aware that do not want to be a part of it, to opt out. Not only are cards sent, but I believe Sharon Derling is also going to send a final letter. This is not applicable to anybody other than unincorporated residents. It's not applicable to Park Ridge, Plains, Glenview, Morton Grove, or Roseland, or not. All right?
Nobody else does it. Nobody else.
I think Park Ridge did do an aggregate.
This year, aggregation, but now they stopped.
Yeah, now they stopped.
It was comment has come down in the process.
Right, you know my feelings on it, and with all due respect, it was voted on. All right. I want to remind everyone to read their township perspective. There's some excellent educational opportunities. I did a webinar on February 21st. That was really great, given by Jeffrey Jurgens, serving the people in township government, and it was a webinar that overviewed how, with the changes in township law, the roles and responsibilities of the various officials, and the many different ways your township can benefit your community. So I just want you to know that there are quite a few coming up that Doreen can enroll you for, $25, since we're members of TOY, and there are 1-hour seminars available at your computer. So and you get written materials with it, and particularly with budget and the annual town meeting coming up, I think that's very helpful. Speaking of the budget, so we have been hard at work in budget meetings, and I'm pleased to report that every department has so far preliminarily met what I thought to be somewhat of an unrealistic, but they did it, 10% cut in each department. So I am extremely proud of my department heads. They took it seriously. And the other thing we did is that we moved much more to actual budgeting than, I don't even know what to call. Last year was difficult because we had many, many one-time costs with the shift in administration. So things like changing over just everything, the signs, the stationery, all of that. There was quite a few one-time cost things. And so we got rid of those. But we also, as I pointed out at other board meetings, instituted cost efficiencies across the board with respect to ordering office supplies en masse. That's really worked out quite well. With respect to our logging in now on the computer for your log in and log out of your daily, the employees. Not only that, it runs reports on insurance, benefits, everything. So it is starting with, I believe it started in November. So for those people that FOIA these things, you'll get prior to November handwritten, and then after November, you'll get the computerized version, which is really an amazing difference and saved a ton of money for the township. So that, Dana and I are continuing to have budget meetings. We can pass the budget up to the end of the first fiscal quarter. So up to June, I'm anticipating that hopefully in April or May, and we will present it to the board and then obviously post it and with the required notice. But I'm very pleased that we are going to be reducing almost every line item by 10%. So I think that is a really good achievement. We've also...
Is that including salaries?
No, salaries are, well, salaries were not looked at all because of the ongoing discussions that we're having in our meetings. So, as I said at the meetings, the salaries, they didn't get reduced.
The overall budget.
The overall line items for
Every department,
Right.
which of course is commendable.
Right, I mean, if any position was cut, obviously that salary's cut, as well as the elected officials had a 25% cut in salary, so that's reflected. So, yes, will the overall salary number, it may be lower, plus with Mary Swanson retiring and us saving all that money by not...
Consolidation.
The consolidation from 5 to 4 people in Marie's department being willing to take on at a much lower cost than somebody who had been here for 10, 11 years and was a higher insurance cost. So yes, but the salary line item is going to be looked at after we do, these meetings, because we need your input.
Okay.
So I don't think, but internally, yes, I guess in the answer, it has gone down, but that won't be the final thing. As you all know, maybe from reading in the paper or being at the board meeting, we've been looking at moving towards a merit base, a performance base. And we're still hearing from other townships. We did a survey of every township, and So most townships are doing a combination of generally a 1 or a 1.8 for cost of living. CPI is 1.8 combined index under the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. But most townships are looking at a combination of a small cost of living plus merit. We're starting with the evaluations of the merit ones, and then we can discuss the other on the March agenda. And that doesn't have to be done, but it is, I just wanted you to know, we've been doing the research, and I think Trustee Sini asked for that comparison, and we're sending them to you as they come in, and presenting them at the meetings, one of which is tonight. Also, we've had our FOIA department continues to handle all our FOIAs. We are almost finished with our last 2 FOIAs, which will go out on Monday and Tuesday, and so that's been going well. And I think that's it. I have nothing else. Trustee, I'm sure I will pop up with something. Trustee Jones.
Well, I attended the Displays Chamber of Commerce banquet at the beginning of February, along with some of our other trustees and Clerk Jill Amos. So, as usual, a very nice event, well attended, and for a good cause. And then, in addition to that, I've been working on continue to respond to FOIAs with our attorney and Supervisor Rask and Nisha, so we're working hard at that. And that's really all I have to say. Concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Carabell.
It's been a month of being surrounded by heroes and surrounded by great people. I had the honor of course, attending Commander Paul Bauer's funeral, who saved the loop from a horrible tragedy that could have occurred if the horrible person that he did not help take down got out of the conference center into the loop. Those 7 shots that went off were going somewhere, and he decided to take that shot. He stood up to all the values of a Sir Knight, the Knights of Columbus, for a Sir Knight for 19 years, out of example, not just out of word. And I prayed for his soul, and along with the other 2 heroes, his 13-year-old daughter and his wife. Then he had a wonderful, and of course the hero today, our Eagle Scout, new Eagle Scout, that did some great, good things for our community as well, which was wonderful to see. I also was asked to attend, I attended Eagle Scout Mass for Francis O'Byrne. He's the son of Attorney Patrick O'Byrne here in, attorney here in Park Ridge. And he's also, nephew of Attorney Patrick O'Byrne, son of Attorney Francis O'Byrne, who's also a legal counsel I've been very familiar with for a long time. And it really gives you hope for our community and the strengthening of our community. It's the good people, they don't get the attention that the bad people do. But they're out there. I also had a wonderful time again seeing the teachers, the instructors, the volunteers, those who contributed an awful lot of money to keep the Nicholas Copernicus School of Polish Language up and going, teaching children of their history, of their heritage, and of course instilling very good values into our society. That was a lot of fun at Lone Tree Manor. Tom over there did an absolutely great job, and heroes there as well. We had a great time with Kim Jones at the Des Plaines Chamber of Commerce dinner. A lot of heroes there too, a lot of good people doing good things for our community. It was really, really wonderful to see, and yes, very good time. It was a lot of fun. Also had a great opportunity with Gina Girardi, Assistant Director at the Dan Webb Center for Advocacy, Loyola University Law School, where I was asked to, and I participated as a semifinalist judge in the client competition had there over this time period. They put on a great program, You're seeing some great young lawyers going to hit the streets from Loyola Law School. It was a great honor to be there. Also attended the Park Ridge Chamber of Commerce Community of Stars dinner dance. Dr. Palliser and Phyllis Palliser were very gracious at the dinner. I enjoyed attending, and I learned more about our dear friend Dick Barton, who I had dinner with his wife, which was very nice. And now I understand that he's actually Dick Mustang Barton, and I need to find out more about where that comes from. He had a very enjoyable time. Meal was excellent. Entertainment was great. And it was just a wonderful time. All these things, like I say, we hear about the tragedies, but there's a lot of good things going on too. And also hearing about the good things that your board's doing here for the community really helps give us hope and strengthens us through these rough times, these more difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you.
Trustee McKenzie.
It's a tough act to follow.
I'll try to start that.
Please. I attended things too, but not to the extent Dave has, so I'm not going to even go into that. My main focus this month was getting the information, facts, and circumstances and the law regarding the old business item on our agenda, which is the IMRF reinstatement that we're going to talk about probably next, soon. But that's what I spent most of my time on.
Trustee Sweeney.
Thank you. I too attended the dinner for the Chamber of Commerce in Des Plaines. And as well, I went to the neighborhood watch meeting led by Mike, which I thought was terrific. And Sharon was there, and seeing the participants in the community is really important to Edgar as to what your needs are. So it gave me a good perspective on that. But most importantly, I too have spent time doing some of the research and understanding what it would take. In our line item that we will be discussing, we were, as you might recall, if any of you stayed to the last board meeting, pretty shocked at the end of the board meeting at 10:30 at night. For 5 months, there's been something that has gone on that we were unaware of. So we have done a lot of work in preparation for tonight to get an appeal for what we shouldn't even be having to go through. There were benefits that were reactivated for IMRF, which is the pension, unbeknownst to us as trustees when we voted against it in August. So I will defer any further conversation about that till we get to the line item. But I think it's really important that the public understand that the elected trustees that you're counting on were unaware of something that had transpired. So we have put a great deal of time separately because we can't collaborate together. But looking at the facts and circumstances to try to go forward and look at a reversal, and that's why we are looking to have this appeal that's been granted to us by IMRF.
All right, attorney's report.
Yeah, I worked on Laura a number of things that finalized response to the last pending OMA matter. Worked collaborated with the FOIA board on a number of issues in terms of formulating responses, and I dealt with a number of pending issues by speaking with members of the board on their concerns and the supervisor and whatnot. So fairly active month.
And I had one question. I was looking at in preparation of this point, rereading, we have this great book, Laws and Duties Handbook. And for those of you who have not read it cover to cover, I really advise it. But anyways, I saw that Cook County, or the townships had the power to create a courtroom. And we've talked about this, a courtroom, to have a courtroom for
violations?
Yeah. And we talked about this briefly before, and I spoke to the first assistant at the state's attorney's office, and they're deferring a lot of, those prosecutions for suspended licenses, we can't do those. But we were discussing the other types.
For the matters that are under the jurisdiction of...
Right, the ordinances that we give tickets, and that I'm having Mikey do a list you've been working on it, of all the tickets, the cost and whether or not we ever recoup it. Because it does require going to Skokie, and I did see that it is enumerated, believe it or not. And now, I do know Cheryl actually years ago tried to do, or did do it in Elk Grove Township. And for whatever reason, it was stopped. And at the time, I thought it was stopped because they weren't allowed to do it. But in laws and duties clearly says otherwise. So I would like to have you look at that. Yeah.
In times past, we did have a regular hearing date in Skokie, like the second Friday of the month or something like that, where we regularly prosecuted matters and probably got resulted in fairly good compliance, and so we haven't done that in a while.
Well, that's a really good solution. I mean, it's probably more cost effective to do that.
Well, I mean, we looked into this before, and I think Bob Provenzano at one point hired sort of a special counsel to pursue all of the...
Chris Cohen was his name.
Right.
Right, all of the past due apartment.
So I'll probably put that on a future board agenda, because I really want, we are looking at quite a lot of...
In terms of your own tribunal, that gets a little expensive. You have to have a hearing officer and other things, and, you know, we have to see a judge, you know, with the likelihood of recovery and whatnot, so...
Yeah, so no, I like that, and I'd like to reinstitute that. I didn't know we stopped it.
Yeah, we didn't technically stop it, we just, you know, I still know the folks over there, they grant allow the township to file complaints and waive fees, you know, in consideration of the fact it's a co-municipality, and so the only time that, the only expense involved would be mine and staff time in prosecuting.
And if it's all on one day, it's just we're losing on non-compliance. You know, Mike will have a chart and a graph for you guys, maybe for the next board meeting, about the amount of money, and I think that is really good while we're looking at all these cost savings in the budget. And I just, you know, especially for some of our repeat offenders in the unincorporated that are making life miserable for everybody else in the unincorporated. So that was my only question, thank you.
I had one, if I can. The investigation of the OMA procedure possible violation, that was resolved by, there was a determination that the way the meetings were being operated, it did constitute OMA violations. However, because there were no decisions made, and we've also made changes during the time period that the investigation was going on, is it correct to say that there's going to be no further action taken from
That's correct. Yeah, it's not going to be a published, you know, reprimand or opinion or whatever, however, and no other action to be taken on that. That is correct. Yeah, that was the, I mean, and we're missing not commenting on that, but you're right.
There was some effort put forth too there to get that matter resolved.
I think we all learned a little bit, yeah.
We kind of got ahead of it there with the.
Sharon, did you have a comment?
We used to get, when the Cook County Police write a ticket, there's a check mark on that ticket, is this an unincorporated area? We used to get money from them.
Yeah, we still do. Not,
Do you?
yeah, we do. Yeah, about 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a separate situation
That's what Bob
from
and
the
I went down
tickets that
on,
Mike
because
issued.
Wendy Brown couldn't figure it out. So we always got it, and then she had to do it, but that helps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, we're still, it's a separate situation
Your tickets.
from Mike's
You
tickets.
can retire for the garbage tickets.
Whoa, did I drop?
No, that was me.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, so moving right along, Dave, if you're about to have requested to discuss, well, and actually Mikey. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I had you scratched out.
I just want to let everyone know about the Sergeant Karen Lader Memorial for Good Citizen Award. I think that the new trustees may be not familiar with what it is. And Karen Lader was a Maine Township resident and a 15-year veteran of the Cook County Sheriff's Police, and she worked very, very close with us on some of our programs. and unfortunately, she passed away in 2010 after battling cancer. So we started a program that we named after her. And this award recognizes a resident who has gone above and beyond in service to fellow residents in the community. And we've been doing this for a long time. And there's a committee, Pete actually is involved with it, and we announced the winner at our annual town meeting, which is April 10th? 10th, April 10th. So there are actually applications, Cindy, if you don't mind, just taking one, I'm passing it down. I also post them online, and then I put them up front, which will start tomorrow by Tracy. I also have them in the waiting room in GA. So anyone is free to fill this out, the public, staff, board, anyone can fill it out. And then you'll see that I have them due March 27th. You can turn them into the clerk's office. And then there's a committee that chooses the winner, and again, they're honored at our annual town meeting. But I wasn't sure that part of the board knew that we do this, so I just want to make sure that you are aware that we have this, and it's very nice that we do this every year in honor of Karen Lader, who again, we work very close with. Okay.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Peter.
All right, next item is under personnel. Our best, I guess, one of our best hall monitors, ironically, literally the day before, Dave had emailed about this, gave notice. And he's usually the person that takes care of our meetings. Bill.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is gone. So, what I had mentioned to Dave was that I didn't know how the board wanted to deal with this, so I put discussion and possible vote. In the meantime, till March, Mike is having people pick up shifts, so we're adequately covered. Because I think the board's position was they want to post, these jobs, so we didn't know if you want to post a part-time hall monitor job. Mike, if you can tell the job description, how many hours? It's not that many hours.
Basically, it's like a 4-hour shift. You're maybe going to get like 5 or 6 days a month. So it's not like a lot, so it is difficult to kind of find people that are willing to go ahead and do this and be consistent at it as well. Basically come in at 5, you're leaving at about 9. Making sure windows, doors, lights, heaters, just making sure the building is secured for a final lockdown at the end of the night, put on the codes, and they're on their way.
Do you have applicants?
As of right now, no.
No, we literally, this just happened.
Yeah.
Like last Thursday.
I say post. I don't know.
I don't have any problem doing that. I just know that your message expressed some urgency. So if the board had any people that they wanted to put forth to come apply, it'd be helpful. As Mike said, it's somewhat hard to fill because.
Yeah, what's the starting salary again? It's like
$12, $10.
It was 10, it's 10.
10, yeah. So, and you know, with what's going on, I don't think you want to college in. Although we do have some great interns, post-college. We met Becky, and so I was going to have it filled in, if necessary, with Becky and, who was the other person I suggested? Oh, Jessica Fox. Yeah, who I feel safe with in any building.
My concern though was really not that so much as during the day, you have people going in, as you all know, that either you know them or you don't know them, or you don't know if they're having a problem that day or whatever. And you have so many employees here that are in an area that you're not getting out any way quick. As I thought about it, if somebody came into this building sometime during the day, and I don't usually come during the day, but I have a couple of times. And my concern is the safety and whether or not we can give pushback to someone who's going to do this. Now, as Laura will tell you, when we go into courthouses these days, you know, we're licensed attorneys, but we still have to pay $10 or $20 for an ID. And we have an ID that goes in and out. And we also go through a scanner. Those scanners protect files, court files, it protects court personnel. And how do we do that here? How do we get some of that protection here? There are times when people, if they see a scanner, they'll leave their weapon that they would intend to walk in here with, you would know they have. They leave it in their car. They know it's a scanner. They've got to go through some type of a scan, even if they want to get away with it. That's what my concern was. That's what was going through my head for quite a bit since the last meeting, since all this going on. Because right now, it's just my opinion, my own personal opinion, this is totally unacceptable. And something has to be done. And I'm afraid it's become, in my opinion, a necessary cost of doing business. So I'm looking more toward being able to have the employees, the staff, be able to defend themselves affirmatively, but also to make this area a harder target than such a soft target as it is right now.
So why don't we discuss both these things at the same time?
Right, that'd be great.
Okay.
And Laura, when I sent out the email, Laura jumped on it right away. I was very pleased about that because it was on my mind. It was really bothering me. And it's when something bothers me, normally there's something there. Okay, so, and Laura got on it right away. She told me some of the ideas that we had.
So we can do an RFP, Vicki. We have 3 security companies that we work with in a different capacity now, that we can explore some of the things you want. I think some of it is just going to be cost prohibitive, like bulletproof glass for the whole building, because the whole building is glass.
Right.
Every front door, possibly, but. And I will say that Tracy, we are one of the few governments where you have an actual person, like always manning the desk. And she really is phenomenal. This door is kept locked during the day, except when we have events. Obviously it's not. I mean, not locked so you can't get in, but closed. But I think it would be very difficult, and this is the ideas we have to toss back and forth, to issue ID cards. I mean, you've got general assistants, you have people coming to the assessor's office, you've got senior citizens, you've got, I don't know how you would do that.
Well, the IDs would be, as we do it, the judges, attorneys, staff have ID cards that get us through security without a problem, have to be searched and that type of thing. And then that separates from the general public, or those like myself. My Daily Center card expired January 31st.
Oh, good luck. You gotta go to the base
get them renewed. Then it takes you 15 years to get into the courthouse and get to your courtroom, okay? But these are measures that were taken because, as Claire would also elaborate to, we had no security at the Daily Center until there was a divorce case. The divorce case involved a police officer who had retired, who was disabled in a wheelchair. And he did not appreciate how procedures were going, so he drew a handgun and he killed an Oak Park father of 3 and caused a lot of injuries, which was an attorney, I believe, also a judge, I believe, he killed the judge.
Jim Tilly. And one of the lawyers who's killed, I used to walk to the courthouse with Bruce Lynn. They started at the same time, started clerks from one north to south. The office right next to me, wonderful kid, wonderful guy.
And lawyers going in, we're not carrying guns, we're a total soft. I mean, you're not, so that's why there has to be pushback. And that's what we call soft targets versus hard targets. That's when they decided, and of course, as lawyers, we complained about the fee we had to pay for the ID card and everything else to get inside the courthouses to practice law, but it became a necessary cost of doing business. So
just so you know that all the employees do have IDs. We have IDs. And so is your idea, I mean, do you want us to do an RFP for, I watched a very interesting District 64 meeting that I was watching for something else. And it actually had this discussion on it. And I'm going to email it to everybody. It's a long discussion, but they had a firm, and NHTSA, and not to be confused with field sobriety tests or National Highway Transportation. And that was their business, and it was when District 64 was considering, the vestibule. And I think, and audience can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was done at Washington. Was it done at Washington? Does anybody here know? If the bulletproof vestibule and scanner idea was done at Washington School in Parkridge. All right, but until that meeting was long.
Yeah, the minimum
I
fee
think
is.
it was discarded actually because of the cost.
Yeah, if you had a scanner, so at least you know who's ever's walking into that building. Scanners don't pick up everything, but at least you have an 80% chance of knowing whoever's walking around your employee area, they're not carrying. Okay, that there's.
Does Maine South have scanners now? I didn't think so.
And if I just, I represent a security firm, the old Andy Frayne Company, and I've talked with them. They're, all the security firms, in conjunction with municipalities and others, are brainstorming ways in which they can harden these soft targets. So I don't know if the RFP would be, right at this moment, but within the next month or two, there's going to be so much being done on this topic that, we should just keep our eyes open, ears open, and at the appropriate time, see if we can get a good proposal that makes sense here. I'm not sure that the best plan has been formulated yet. I think it's going to be coming, as a result of the impetus that's been provided with that horrible Florida incident.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a great, there's also been so many more now all over everywhere. And so I would like to see our building looked at by someone a professional firm, that they'll come back and they'll say, look, we have budget issues. Everybody does. But what can we do even at a minimum? And I think a scanner at the front door for people coming in now without who don't have IDs is one. And then there's someone to monitor the scanner. We have, that can watch over who's coming in and out of the building, and has the power as well as the authority to tell them to get out of here if we want them out.
Maine Township just helped us a big drill.
Well, I did want to point out, and then we can move to action on this, that we've had several incidents over the years. And in the past, we had the Park Ridge commander, who did a fantastic job, doing the lockdown drill, the fire drill, and a protocol, a safety protocol. Or, Dana can speak to it better because she was
Can I add a
here.
couple things to this?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the board is aware of a couple things we have. It's not nearly anything what you're asking for, which of course we can get prices on. We did have the Park Ridge Police come in this past year. They did an active, I actually took a couple minutes before the meeting. They did an active shooter training, a soft lockdown procedure, and every new employee that comes in, we make them watch what's called Run, Hide, Fight video. So we do have some things in place. The other thing I want to make sure the board is aware of is that we have 6, we call them buzzers in the building, and they're I can talk to you in private about that. That leads, they're strategically placed, and when pressed, automatically reaches the Park Ridge Police Department. And those are things. Right. So those are.
You've had to use them in Mainstay quite a few times.
Yes, we have had to use that in Mainstay. A client comes in early. The other thing is we do have cameras placed in the building that definitely needs to be upgraded. That is an old system, but they are placed there. So we have a few things in place. Obviously not nearly as much as we probably should, but we obviously can get prices on what we're talking about and see what the ballpark is, but I have no clue anything like that costs.
It's my concern that they get through the front door and into the lobby here. You're not getting out of that office area over there. It's not happening.
Right.
And these doors can easily be forced through as well.
Right.
So we can catch them with the cameras. We'll make sure they're prosecuted.
Right, but that's after the fact.
Right.
So what I can do is Vicki and I can start calling some places and at least getting prices, and we can, I don't know if it's $10 or $10 million. I have no idea what something like that costs, but we can get proposals and see where we're at, so.
Yeah. I have at least the scanners at the door,
Correct.
someone there that can.
And don't forget, we would need a minimum of 2 scanners. obviously with the GA doors as well, so.
Right.
Okay.
I very much appreciate you getting on that so fast.
Oh.
Because I just shut that out. Went down the spot. It was great.
So we're agreeing on that. Now, with the part-time hall monitor, do you guys want to give Mike the authority, once we post it and have at least 3 more applicants, which obviously will do background checks and make sure, do you want to give him the authority to hire it before the next board meeting, or do you want to wait that long? I'm just looking for guidance.
So you know, so you say if he had that authority, he doesn't have to wait a month to bring
That's what I'm saying, right.
What do you think?
I mean, it's a pretty set protocol, that we post, that they have to.
And Mike's very familiar with the
Yes,
needs
he's
of the
been
position.
doing it.
Right.
So I'd like to motion to give him, in conjunction with Dana, obviously.
both interview and run the person past Laura.
The authority to post it, review applicants, conduct the background check. Yes, Dennis?
And then be just for this particular instance, right?
Just for the hall monitor for, them.
Okay, that's right.
Just for Val, I mean, we have to do something.
So the question would be the length of time for posting period.
It's,
Again.
Let's get the
Just
authority
the-
thing done.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to post the job of part-time hall monitor with all the associated conditions, and to interview minimum of 3 candidates, if we get 3, and to allow Mike Simon in conjunction with Dana Berman, myself, to hire a person to take the place of Val after a certain minimum posting time. Do I have a second on that
Second.
motion? Having a motion and a second, I think we've had the discussion. Is there any more discussion on this issue? All right, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
All right, now, how long would you like the job posted for? Because honestly, we want to fill it, so 2 weeks? I mean, to be frank, which we don't get any, you don't really get a lot of candidates from posting. All right, so if anybody knows anybody,
I heard you could add some.
we do. And on the website. But when we posted for the senior department, 4 were internal and 1 was already working at the Niles Senior Department. Who heard about it internal. Nobody came from the website. From posting. And that seems to sort of be, and we posted all the,
Right.
There's a comment, just a question, maybe we could clarify this. This position would not have benefits associated.
Oh, absolutely
with it at all,
not.
right?
It's 30 hours at the most, so.
I don't even think.
I'm
you
sorry,
did
yeah,
that.
I think you described 20 a month.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it wouldn't even be close to that.
No, it's $10 an hour.
Yeah, we usually
But
just,
This is why it's different.
Yeah, there's no healthcare, there's no.
Yeah.
It's part-time, 20 hours. a week.
No, nothing, they get nothing, yeah.
I think you should be a minimum of 21 years of age, though.
yeah. we can do that.
Not that I'm against, some younger are very, but it's hard sometimes.
Or a retiree.
Right,
Who has
right.
flexibility.
But I just said
That was the
right.
question that came
And you're right, it's
about.
an important responsibility. It's important.
Right. And, they need to know, to leave the door open during meetings, all those things.
They sit right over there.
They sit where Sophie's doing it, yeah. And we sit through the whole meeting. And they start at, I believe, 5 when Tracy leaves, right?
Yes.
The night of the board.
So Dana will be the good cop and Mike will be the bad cop.
Correct.
And
I'll be the referee.
That's right, that's right there.
I would make a move that 2 weeks is reasonable.
Okay, great.
In light of the fact that we need to.
I'll second that.
Urgently.
Perfect. All right, having a motion and a second, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Excuse me. Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
And Trustee Sweeney?
Yes. All right. All right, now we are up to old business, discussion of assessor cost appeal, unremarked reinstatement, discussion and vote of potential appeal. I want to pass down to you guys, Doreen was in the attic looking for insurance things, I think, for some items for trustee Sweeney, and found a 2011 IMRF file. I had requested any documentation back in August, and I was told there was none. Carol Teschke, just so you know, took all her files when she left, and then returned some of them to the edit. So the files I had did not have these things. This would have made life a little easier. But anyway, so in 2011, the position was audited, and I had a conversation with Denise about that, and the only paperwork Denise had was the certificate that you all had. So this shows you the results of the audit of 2011. I just want you to have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I'll start.
All right, I recognize trustee McKenzie.
It's trustee McKenzie. At the last board meeting, January 23rd, we were provided, I know for sure this end of the table, I'm not sure what happened at the end of the table. We were provided a letter from IMRF, I believe it was the prior general counsel Kathy O'Brien, dated November 14th, 2017. And that letter requested information, provided facts, requested information, and gave information related to Assessor Moylan Cray's appeal of her IMRF benefits being terminated due to this board on August 22nd voting not to certify the position of assessor. And I, for one, and I know that the two trustees sitting next to me, 2 and 3, also did not know that this had happened. Did not know that Assessor Moylan Cray contacted IMRF, did not know that Supervisor Marask had contacted IMRF, did not know that Denise Janko contacted IMRF about appeal procedures, appealing the board's decision. And the result of those contacts was that Assessor Moylan Cray was reinstated as an IMRF participant. And we did not know that. And we found this out after the appeal time of 63 days. So we got this letter on January 23rd, the letter that actually provided the decision was November 20th. And I contacted General Counsel because I had no idea and wanted to know how this could have possibly happened without having the board know and give us due process and the same appeal rights as any other person. And I was told that Supervisor Marask had received a letter on our behalf asking for explanations and reasons, and we were never asked for our explanation or reasons. And instead, this was all handled and all the contacts were made without knowledge of at least these 3 trustees, and that's Trustee Sweeney, Trustee McKenzie, and Trustee Carabota. I can't speak for Trustee John.
I didn't know.
Okay, so none of us knew. And in speaking to General Counsel, current General Counsel, I suggested that
At the IMRF.
At the IMRF, correct. That it would have been nice if we did know. And she was appalled and surprised herself and sent a certified letter on January 26th to the entire board. And I, for one, did not receive notice of the certified letter until I contacted Maine Township and asked if there was a procedure for getting a certified letter. So that's another issue. But when I finally got my letter and read it, I have all the facts. And now we are in a position to have to appeal this reinstatement. And we had 63 days from January 26th in order to do it. So I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and appeal that decision and vote on a resolution to appeal that decision. That's my discussion.
Wait a second.
Can we call a vote, please?
Yes.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? I have a little bit of, go on.
I would concur with what trustee McKenzie had just referenced, and I would add to it that I too had talked to the general counsel and understood that benefits were reactivated, unbeknownst to us. I would just like to say that as a trustee, all three of us, and being elected officials on your behalf representing you, to not know about something that took place over a 5-month period was shameful. Very disappointed, and it's not the first time that our power has been usurped. I hope more people become aware of what's going on and help us pursue getting answers that we need. And we want to represent you. I have had many people in the community oftentimes call me, asking questions.
Can we stick to this issue?
If I may, I don't want to interrupt you, Susan, are you done?
Finish. Thank you.
Finished? These were benefits that he had to be certified, this position had to be certified, and the IMRF requires a certification be done by the board every 2 years. So we had an evaluation in 2011 that's all well and good. But the evaluation is done every 2 years, and it used to be done, my understanding is the IMRF used to come around and actually audit the positions, but then they have delegated that to the various boards. And in my opinion, it's because the board is much closer to the people. Okay, that's my opinion. The board voted no on a 3-2 vote, not to certify the position of the assessor for continued IMRF benefits. The benefits therefore expired, and the benefits were stopped by the IMRF. That was the last I knew about this. Until those benefits, when we received a letter January 23rd, amongst somewhat of commotion at the end of the last meeting, we were addressing a criticism, just a blanket criticism, that the board is spending too much in attorney's fees. Well, that's going on. The letter was passed out and to various board members, and we're looking down, and I characterize it, you'll see it on the tape, as a surprise. What's the surprise about it? I just got it now. And yes, this is going to require the assistance of Attorney Dowd, and I think it's, in my opinion, it's extremely necessary. Is it going to mean more attorney's fees to the township? Absolutely. The attorney's fees that were spent in dealing with straightening out the OMA problems that our board had been having for a period of years. In fact, in my opinion, those were necessary expenses, turned out to be good expenses. Turned out that there was OMA violations, but it turned out we were able to get that straightened out where there was no harm, no foul. Okay, don't do it again. That was a great outcome. That was my understanding of the outcome. Here, this shouldn't have happened, and I have one question. That I'd like to have answered, and that is, why was that November 14th letter directly from the IMRF to our supervisor, Laura Moraes, received by Laura Moraes, and then not spread to the other board members until January 23rd?
Are you done? Okay. So, in any event, just a couple things. Our passport had not had any OMA problems. I just want to clarify that. it was this board that had OMA problems, so we have never had an OMA violation with bill pay. And with this,
I want to correct
Yeah,
that. They criticized the procedure that has been going on for years. And it was a violation of the Open
30
Meetings
years.
Act, and they
I'm sorry,
determined.
I didn't get
So we got ahead of it before.
I'm sorry, ladies.
I understand, but that's got to be clarified.
It has to be
I'm
clarified.
I know, and
We
I,
recognize that
I'm
it's a
sorry,
violation.
I
so
haven't.
those procedures have been changed.
Okay. Please reread your opinion. But my point is that you received the IMRF letter. Nor you, nor any of this board has any authority over Assessor Moylan Pride whatsoever, none. Maybe you, like, if you read the laws and duties, you will see that. Assessor Moylan Pride, I think Attorney Dowd will speak to that, did not have any duty. She did not tell me she was appealing. So, what do
We
you
have the ability to decide whether.
I'm sorry,
duties
Susan,
require
yes.
That was a question, I thought you were making a question.
I thought you were.
No, that
asking
was
a question.
rhetoric. I'm saying if Assessor Moylan Pride, like the Highway Commissioner, is an independent office, which she is, and she,
I just got a question pending, it's not.
I'm sorry, can I please?
Yeah, but I asked a question, you said you're going to answer it, and I'm
I'm not answering your question. I'd like.
I think Dave deserves an answer.
Deserves
I
an
think
Well,
the
if you
people
let her
that
talk, she'll answer the question, but she keeps being interrupted.
are, she does not answer.
She hasn't had a chance yet.
It's 9:10, so we.
Well, that's the thing
Stop
about them saying
interrupting.
their power. I heard Susan Sweeney say, our power, the three of you. That night when you did not.
Susan, I don't think you have the floor.
Excuse me.
I think you don't have the floor.
either.
I'm waiting for either
You
an
have no
answer
floor.
to a question or
You have no
whatever
floor
Laura
either.
Morass is going to.
See, that's the power.
Unless Laura's done.
That's
Are you
the
done?
power.
I'm not done, and I'm gonna finish, and we're gonna go in orderly fashion and not be an embarrassment to boards everywhere. I'm not, my letter that I wrote and sent to all of you certified mail speaks for itself. That is my answer to your question, Dave. And the appeal time was not over. The appeal time is the first week in April. It is April 2nd. And as the clear letter states, it was sent to me to answer questions. I responded to those questions as I stated in my response letter to you and General Counsel, which had switched, on the sole issue of what reasons did the board members give. I sent a link to the board meeting and a link to a newspaper article. So, all of those are encompassed in the letter I wrote. I am not defending my job is not to sit here and defend my actions to you. My letter is on the website for anybody to see. Assessor Cry has every right to appeal. She did appeal that, and for this outrage, you're welcome to it, but we're going to do this in a calm and orderly fashion. The only vote here is whether or not you want to appeal. I would think maybe you want the attorney's advice about the issue of whether or not you want to appeal. From my understanding, this has a 0.001% chance of winning. Attorney Dowd, I believe spoke. No, I'm not done talking. Thank you. Attorney Dowd spoke to Beth Janicki. When I spoke to Kathy O'Brien, I actually gave her all of your guys' information. I offered to have her talk to you. She wanted. Your reasons now don't make any difference. It was the reasons that were pertinent to first level administrative. That's what she asked for. I I provided factual information. So, having said all that, I'm now going to turn it over to Attorney Dow for his opinion. No, I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Dow. You guys mentioned you wanted Attorney
I don't
Dow.
want Attorney Dow's opinion. In my
No, I'm sorry, you mentioned you wanted him to pursue this appeal. Did you not mention that?
That's why we get the vote.
And so Attorney Dow can speak to whether or not he can do that.
Just do what? Appeal? I mean, I talked at length to, is it Janaki, is that the successor counsel? And I think Claire, you did as well. I think we kind of both came away with the same idea of what an appeal would involve. Board certainly has a right to appeal that decision. Got 63 days in which to file the appeal. Thereafter, 90 days in which to file a brief of some sort, setting forth the reasons for the appeal. I've never expressed an opinion on the merits, whether it be well-founded or not well-founded. We've got into that. That would be in terms of the appeal. I did express with Claire, and she concurred that the appeal is not, the certification and the active certification has just one factual issue, and that's whether the position requires 1,000 hours or not. It's not a platform for discussion of whether it's a good idea or a bad idea for a public official to participate in the program. That's something that's not germane. But I think there's no particular form that the appeal has to take. I think if the board elects to appeal, you just need to notify the IMRF for that, and that you're going to avail yourself of the appeal process, and that you'll provide a brief of some sort, but within the time frame of 90 days.
So I would like to call a vote and make a motion for the resolution of appeal of Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund administrative determination dated November 20th, 2017. Reinstated.
I'm sorry, Susan, I'm the only one that can actually call for a vote. Is that okay? Can I do it?
Yes.
Thank you. Before I do that, I did have one more question of Dan, and I think Assessor Whalen had something to say. And my question is, according to the appeal procedures, the only thing required to start an appeal is a notice of appeal, correct?
I don't even know if it needs to take that far, but that probably
No, I mean the
proper
three-sentence
description. All
thing that is
all it needs-
encompassed on the IMRF website.
All the board needs to do is,
I'm sorry, Mike, can you go see who's walking through? I don't know where Sophie is. I know. But I mean, it doesn't require a resolution. My question is this, it doesn't require a resolution, it requires a notice to appeal,
I
right?
think all it requires is informing the IMRF that the board voted to appeal the reinstatement of benefits at a meeting which occurred on February 27th, or I think it's 27th, and that's it. It doesn't foreclose other things, but that's all that's required.
Okay, Assessor, correct.
I really don't think there was really much that I should even say, because the three trustees have it in their mind, and they kind of work in sync. And more or less, like Susan Sweeney said, our power was attacked. Let's go on with the appeal. I would welcome it. Thank you.
All right, going in order, Mr. Martin, could you step up for public comment? And identify yourself.
Yeah, my name is Dennis Martin. I've lived in Niles in the Maine Township area for over 25 years. And I wasn't prepared to speak today, but after hearing some of the information that people were kept in the dark for 5 months, thinking that something was decided one way, and all of a sudden you come to find out that it's changed, and that the trustees were in the dark. Now I'm a Niles Library trustee, and I fully expect to have transparency of what goes on within the Niles Library. And I'm really becoming concerned that the transparency is not here and that things are being done out of order. And I got some serious questions about it.
I'd like to address that also.
I'm sorry, it was literally 1 month. I don't know where everybody's throwing around 5 months. This decision,
August 22nd
No.
to January 23rd.
no,
Do the
but,
math.
But that decision didn't come through.
right.
Until months later.
The first
There is-
contact was in September.
And transparency,
No.
transparency, I asked you that night, why did you not?
First contact was in September. we
And
were not-
I was told I
Why is
did
this
not have to
happening?
have an answer.
Your first contact was
I did
shortly.
not have to have an
We
answer.
had no,
I said, you actually called me a liar, that I did not work in this township over 1,000 hours.
nobody called you a liar. You
Yeah,
kept
for
putting
my
that
record.
word. You kept
You
putting
did not
that word
have to
out.
give an answer. You did not have to answer me.
This-
You did not answer me.
There was, you never.
You belittled my
never
office.
said the word
You
liar.
belittled my
so
position
I
in the
really wish
township.
you would be
It's
honest.
my position in the township to help our residents.
Guys, Ms. Reardon.
Thank you very much. I'm surprised you knew my name. I'm Jane Reardon. I live at 430 South Prospect. I've been a lawyer for over 35 years. I now work as executive director for the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. I'm coming to this situation pretty new. I've just started doing my research over the last month or so. But I have looked at everything on the website, and I spent quite a bit of time with Laura Maraska's letter of January 30th to General Counsel Beth Janicki Clark, where she lists 5 reasons that the vote essentially decertifying IMRF participation by the elected officials was done, despite the fact that, and number 1, she says, is each elected position had been part of the IMRF for over 30 years, since 1986. That fact is repeated in the conversation. I listened to the meeting videos, and it's in this letter more than once. I think everyone knows we don't work the way we did 30 years ago. It is irrelevant that these positions became part of the IMRF 30 years ago. It's irrelevant that they certified it by an audit in 2011. That's why, as Marask stated in the August 22nd meeting, the IMRF changed the requirement that you board members must certify every 2 years to, I don't have my notes on the board thing, but I think you said to avoid pension fraud. I think that's a great idea, and thank you for pointing that out. And thank you, board members, for taking your responsibilities to certify these positions as meeting the minimum requirements to receive the pension funds. You are doing your jobs to watch out for the taxpayers of this community, and that I laud you for. I also really was very impressed with the great work that the Maine Township is doing. I looked through every board packet on file, and thank you for deciding to put them on there. But what I was looking at was, for what does the assessor's office do? What is the evidence that this position takes $1,000 a year? I saw some great reports from the other departments, statistics about how many citizens come in and get Maine Township food baskets, and the code enforcement, and what's being done with the highway. Until today, I had no idea what the assessor's office did. Thank you for the demonstrative evidence, but that's not really very persuasive for $1,000 of work, 5 people there. I would think as a lawyer, as trustees, you would want to know, who are these people? How many, okay, 4 people plus you, but how many people are served? How much time does each of the assessors spend? What are the activities? I'm thinking like a lawyer. When I build my clients, Laura, you guys know, there's plenty of lawyers here, you put the date down, What was the client matter? What did you do? How much time did you spend? That's transparency. That's accountability. And that's what I would think and hope all the trustees would expect before they certify a position as eligible to receive pension funds. And then I just could not leave without sharing with you. Hopefully you all saw this in the Park Ridge Herald Advocate. There was an article on August 31st, a week and a half after the trustees voted on this, and this is what was said. Quote, "They've only been here a couple of months," Cray said, of the Carabata, McKenzie, and Sweeney. Quote, "They don't know what I do. They don't come in here and see the time we put in. I think they probably made a rash decision," end quote. If they don't know what you do, thank you for not certifying the position. I would posit they not only did not make a rash decision, they made a wise decision. And I applaud them for that. I support the appeal, and I think the taxpayers deserve much greater scrutiny. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Can I ask you, do you receive a pension?
Excuse me, that's not proper, is it?
No.
I have never seen board meetings
No,
conducted
it
by
isn't. I think
the
what Assessor Craig is feeling attacked, and because I don't know that those were her words, I believe that those were her words that Jennifer Johnson wrote in the article, but that article was not exactly accurate. So I do want to ask you though, and I have great respect, and I absolutely know your name, I just signed up for the professional seminar on May 5th for the disability.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, I'm sorry. For myself, my husband, as well as my law partner. And I read your blog, Adam, and I just finished it for you. So, but I want to ask, so this IMRF certification, in the conversation with Kathy O'Brien, she actually said that it was an unintended consequence that boards were getting this wrong and that they were voting based on political belief or based on a belief that pensions should not be. She did.
There's a memo on the IMRF website.
And she wrote a letter, you saw it, on November 14th.
It's like you
I'm sorry.
were there for
You
that
saw-
interview for the newspaper where Ms. Cray was.
I'm
quoted,
sorry,
you were
can
there.
I?
So you were able to say those words weren't accurate, now you're
Mr.
saying.
And I'm sure on your board you don't see interruptions of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Alright, so I'd like to ask you, if someone certifies and under penalty of a class 3 felony, and the relevance of that, it had been certified 2011 previously, and the position of assessor didn't go down in hours, it only increased. And she's had many statistics all over the website and every board meeting about, and in mainly news, about the number of people served. So I guess my question is, if board members vote that no, then really what you're saying is that certification is a lie, which subjects us to penalty of perjury. And so I believe what Assessor Craig was saying is that it was a rash in that respect. I believe that, and I want to speak for her, trying to mediate here, that she had offered to have them tour and spend the day.
Oh my God, we have tried to make appointments
may I
6
please
times.
not-
Cancel them.
We
Okay,
tried to get
I'm
it.
sorry.
Absolutely wrong. Yes, it is. I have all the emails on there. No, let's not lie about it.
I waited for everybody to come to my office.
Trustee
So we're all
McKenzie.
wrong. When you stitch me that night,
Don't, please.
Absolutely
Why
not.
should I even bother?
Don't bother,
After
because
that.
we have emails showing it. I
I
bother.
do too.
All right, it is not appropriate.
Either is this discussion, Laura.
It's a good representation for Ms. Cray by the supervisor, but we really should.
No, I was
get the vote.
actually
Yeah, let's
asking
get
Ms.
to the vote.
Reardon a question, if that's
Ms.
okay.
Reardon is not being deposed here.
I'm not
She's
deposing
on
We
her.
had a public comment. Let's just go. And I thank you.
I mean,
I would like to call the vote.
I agree.
Please, done.
Clerk Gillon,
Please.
can you call the
Supervisor Moraz.
No.
Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes, and I would like to have this reflected in the record that it's been prepared as a resolution, so that the residents.
vote? What has been prepared?
I have
We
prepared a resolution.
a resolution.
And I
The reason I'm voting
I
for it
believe
is
a resolution, and I can ask Mr. Dow,
This
I
can be
believe
in
a
the board
resolution
packet and the
is
minutes, the board packet
is
next
an option.
month, and the minutes.
And we like to have the resolution
I just
signed.
want you to know, the reason I'm voting no is because the way it was expressed, and I originally voted in August by our township attorney, and based on my previous experience, we actually did not have the authority to vote.
Oh,
No.
That's why you voted no the
It's
first
a
time.
pass-through vote. And so that is why.
Well, we have a-
And our authority hasn't changed. so.
We have a I mean, there's a resolution
So
here.
you think that we're being posed the option to vote, and we don't have the
That's
authority to
right, that's
vote?
right, it's not.
Yeah, the authority-
It's not a vote, it's a
Let's just
certification.
have the resolution
It's a
passed.
vote.
So
pass
pass.
this down to, I already gave a copy to Attorney Dow. I don't know if I saw him reviewing it, hopefully you did. Did you review it?
I did, I think.
Would have been much
Mayor, if the
better.
board if the board wants to consider it, it needs to be presented, read, and then voted on.
No, I'm sorry. We can't vote on this tonight. We've literally just gotten,
This is really easy, Laura. It's
No.
all the
And
facts.
it's in.
We're not asking for it, we
No, we're
already
not,
have
yeah.
the vote. We
so
already
it's
have the vote.
okay,
We don't
it's
need to
okay
vote
to
on this.
ambush at 9:30?
No,
It's not
this is,
being
we were
ambushed.
ambushed.
Oh, my God.
We were ambushed.
Yeah.
This is purely for the residents of our
No.
township to understand, and
That's
several of us
not
have
what
spent a
the
lot of
point
time.
of appeal is.
A resolution is something.
For
is- is-
5 months.
We have a legal, Susan,
Hang
if I may.
Township.
Hang on a second.
Susan, if I may,
Hang on.
the attorney said we have.
Hang on, I
option.
haven't finished. This resolution personally attacks people, and that is not an
It's
appropriate.
factual.
No, it has nothing to do with the actual appeal, other,
So let's vote on it, that's our option, we have our legal option.
No,
to do that.
I'm not
We
voting on
present
it. I'm not
we
calling a
present
vote
it, we
on
read
this
it, and we
tonight.
vote it.
you guys, we called the vote to appeal. You can absolutely appeal. If you have a resolution like this, Dan Dowd would be conflicted out from being your lawyer.
Why?
Because you are attacking the supervisor, and I am part of the board.
You are part of the minority of the board that
It
voted.
doesn't-
We were the board
I'm
majority
not-
that
I'm
voted
talking
against it.
about the
So
conflict.
actually, Dan Dowd, as our attorney, should be supporting the board majority that voted against
That's
certifying.
not the issue.
And just action
appeal.
to reinstate.
I have no
Technically
problem with
speaking,
your
we are
appeal.
not, there's no recertification. There's really
But
only a
that's-
reenactment, reactivation of benefits.
This
So nobody
resolution-
certified
But you
it.
didn't have authority to vote.
Nobody
no
has
one in the
certified
first
it.
place.
Only the board has,
Kathy
according
O'Brien
to
said.
IMRF, and to be
That's not what
consistent
she
with
said.
every other township in the state of Illinois, it is the board that certifies. The board has not certified.
So I believe Claire has presented a resolution she wants to read into the record for the board to consider.
We're
And
not
Dan-
going to
and
take a
Dan
vote
Dowd
on it
said-
tonight.
Dan Dowd said we have the legal option to do this, to present it as a resolution, to have it read into the record, and to vote on it. The agenda says that we're here to vote on issues of and pertaining to the appeal. This is
It's
the-
to vote on whether to appeal.
And I had this conversation with you about this, Dan, and so did Claire.
Dan, I was told nothing about a
Well,
resolution.
I wasn't sure this would come up, we did discuss it.
Dan,
And I-
Claire and I-
let me finish. I think this is just like we had an issue before, whether something is closely connected to an item that's listed on the agenda. Would be my opinion that this, it doesn't mean that it's accurate in all its respects, but I believe it's entitled to be introduced and voted on, be my opinion.
All right, did you read it?
I read this or this evening.
Just now, or did you get an
I know I read it,
email by a portion of the board secretly earlier?
No, I read it at 7:30.
Well, that's what's
Is
been
that down?
happening.
Secretly,
There's
well,
been
you
no
know that
secret.
word really well.
I'm not surprised. Let's, if we can.
That's very professional.
Well, so what's your comment?
But it's
If you
been
could read-
happening.
If you could read it.
I read it, I got it at 7:30, read it at 7:30.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, Laura.
That's what I mean.
And of course, we didn't get it.
Laura, you're just wasting time.
No, I'm
You're
actually
working on
very curious as to
Okay, well,
what
then-
would have prevented, it's a simple question. What would have prevented you from sending it to?
I just
Working on
did
it
it.
until at night?
I prepared it. Whereas Maine Township, the township, received notification on or around March 3rd, 2017, specifically memorandum 337, from IMRF requiring the township's board certification before September 1st, 2017, as to the future eligibility of certain elected officials as to whether or not the performance of the elected official's duties requires more than 1,000 hours per year. Whereas the township board convened to vote on the resolution for certification of certain elected officials' IMRF eligibility on August 22nd, 2017, as required by the IMRF Board of Trustees. Whereas the members of the township board were provided with a document entitled Certification by Elected Official of Hours Required, -1000, IMRF Form 6.93, revised 05 of 2014, in their respective board packets in advance of the August 22nd, 2017 board meeting. Whereas the township board voted on proposed resolution 2017, I'm not sure the number, and such vote failed by 3 no votes and 2 yes votes, defeating the resolution, with the board refusing to certify Assessor Moylan Craig's position as eligible for IMRF benefits as of the August 22nd, 2017 board meeting and vote. Whereas Assessor Moylan Craig contacted the now retired IMRF General Counsel Kathy O'Brien on or about October 30th, 2017, restating her personal certification that the assessor's position requires at least 1,000 hours necessary for IMRF participation. Whereas on November 14th, 2017, former, now retired IMRF General Counsel Kathy O'Brien sent Supervisor Morass a letter requesting the reasons and basis for the trustees' no vote to certify Assessor Moylan Craig for IMRF participation. Whereas Supervisor Morass failed to provide notice of the letter to all of the trustees or the request for the relevant trustees' reasons or basis for their voting no to the IMRF certification of Assessor Moylan Craig's IMRF eligibility upon her receipt or within a timely manner for the trustees to respond to General Counsel O'Brien's request and inquiry as requested of General Counsel O'Brien. Whereas on November 20th, 2017, Supervisor Morass answered the November 14th, 2017 IMRF General Counsel inquiry by email letter without notifying the relevant trustees and without requesting the information from the relevant trustees directly. Whereas, based on Assessor Moylan Craig's and Supervisor Morass' representations to former IMRF General Counsel Kathy O'Brien, General Counsel O'Brien made an administrative determination that Assessor Moylan Craig continued to qualify for IMRF participation, notwithstanding the Township Board's decision and vote not to recertify Assessor Moylan Craig's position. Whereas Supervisor Morass first provided a copy of the IMRF November 14, 2017 letter requesting the subject trustees' reasons for the respective no vote at the end of the January 23, 2018 board meeting. Whereas the trustees who had voted no to the IMRF certification of Assessor Moylan Craig's position were surprised to learn of Assessor Moylan Craig's appeal and IMRF's inquiry and IMRF's administrative determination to reinstate Assessor Moylan Craig's IMRF benefits. Whereas the trustees who had voted no should have been notified of Assessor Moylan Craig's appeal and Supervisor Morass and Bookkeeper Payroll Supervisor Jenko's communication and assistance with the appeal prior to January 23rd, 2018, which was 63 days after the IMRF November 20th, 2017 administrative determination that Assessor Moylan Cray's appeal had resulted in the IMRF overriding and ignoring the board's August 22nd, 2017 vote, and instead deciding to reinstate Assessor Moylan Cray's eligibility for IMRF benefits. However, the trustees were not so notified. Whereas, due to the trustees not being notified of the IMRF's November 14, 2017 letter, an inquiry for information concerning their reasons for voting no to certifying Assessor Moylan Cray for IMRF benefits, they were prohibited from participating in the appeal and from responding with their reasons as requested by IMRF. As such, these trustees were not afforded the required due process for the IMRF appeal. Whereas one of the subject trustees contacted current IMRF General Counsel Beth Janicki Clark on January 24, 2018, the day after receiving the November 14, 2017 IMRF letter from Supervisor Marask at the January 23, 2018 board meeting, and a second trustee contacted Ms. Janicki Clark on January 26, 2018. Whereas in response to learning that IMRF agent Supervisor Marask had failed to notify all of the township board members of the appeal, and specifically of the November 14, 2017 IMRF inquiry of the trustees who voted no to the IMRF resolution, IMRF General Counsel Beth Janicki Clark sent each member of the township board a letter dated January 26, 2018 via certified mail, setting forth the facts according to the IMRF file and the appeal procedures related to the current administrative determination. Whereas, based on IMRF letter dated January 26, 2018, and the appeal procedures available to Maine Township as Assessor Moylan Cray's employer, the board desires to appeal the IMRF administrative determination dated November 20th, 2017, thereby reinstating Assessor Moylan Cray as IMRF eligible, based on the majority of the board stating that Assessor Moylan Cray's duty do not require more than 1,000 hours per year. Whereas Supervisor Marask responded on November 20th, 2018 with no input from the board majority as to the basis of their vote. Whereas IMRF General Counsel Clark has granted the employer, Maine Township, standing to appeal the administrative determination and to petition for a hearing to appeal the decision before IMRF Administrative Hearing Officer. Whereas the board has decided to provide notice of appeal of the staff administrative decision made by former General Counsel O'Brien to reinstate Township Assessor Moylan Cray's IMRF participation to Vladimir Shaliga Jr., the IMRF Associate General Counsel at 2211 York Road, Suite 500, Oak Brook, Illinois, 60523-2337, no later than 63 days from January 26, 2018, pursuant and in accordance with the General Counsel Beth Janicki Clark's letter dated January 26, 2018. Be it further resolved and ordained that this resolution be adopted by the Township Board of Trustees of the Township of Maine, Cook County, Illinois, on this 27th day of February by roll call, vote which was done.
Well, no, you didn't.
I won't move to.
Well, I just think it's funny
This is
that
all
in your
already
report,
voted.
you said you spent the month working on IMRF, and
Right.
Susan, and yet you handed this to the attorney at 7:30 at the time of the meeting, so.
There's no
how is
problem with that.
How
It's not
how is
against
it
the
that
law.
you were?
It's 9:45.
I'm not gonna call for a
Well, you're
vote.
making a
I
statement.
think it's suspect, and
I mean,
again, you're
Okay, so you're
interrupting.
saying there's something wrong.
Well, there is something wrong, if you've
Take
been
it
working on it all
first.
month, that
Yeah,
means
well,
it's
this is the
last
actual-
minute. It's very unprofessional, and it's really, the
resolution is
conduct is not
unprofessional.
very good.
What's unprofessional
The
about
first
the
page and the
resolution?
last page is what's needed.
And you're also missing.
Well, you could have
And
drafted
just-
your own.
The-
I
I
drafted
didn't-
this one.
First of all,
Assessor
you-
Wood and Craig does not have to notify you if she's appealing it. No, she doesn't.
No,
She's
she
not
doesn't.
Supervisor Marask does.
Taxpayers either.
No.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm sorry. Let's, for the record,
So,
so
keep
November
it in the dark, we have no
14th.
transparency, I guess that's.
No, I'm
You're right.
perfectly-
She doesn't have to.
She doesn't. You do not
Tim,
have
Kim,
to
we
worry
took a
over
vote.
Assessor
We
Wood
voted
and
against it.
position.
We took
We
a
should
vote.
be
We
notified.
voted
of the
against it.
process.
And you
If
were.
you're saying that it's
On
okay,
January
then
23rd,
everybody
after
should
the
know.
That's
vote was
fine.
done.
Oh my God. Was
Laura, this is all
I'm
taped.
saying-
Everybody's gonna be able
It's
to.
Right, and they see
You.
your conduct.
I'm
as
telling
well.
you
So
that.
now it's
Yes,
nine,
Suzanne,
now it's
and
I
nine.
don't care what time it is,
Yes,
Dave.
ma'am.
What really was said in the November 14th letter by, I don't know where you're assuming that Laura Morass has all this power over the IMRF General Counsel, which, as I stated in my letter to them, the ultimate letter, I don't direct their investigation. But the letter, November 14th, as you well know, was Kathy O'Brien's actual denial. What IMRF, and I quote, what IMRF is asking the governing bodies of our employers to do is inform us of the hours required to perform the duties of a particular elected position. The governing bodies are not given the authority to determine which elected officials may participate in IMRF, regardless of hours of work required. The Illinois Pension Code determines IMRF eligibility, and it provides that elected officials, if they hold a position that requires the hours of service, are eligible to join IMRF. This cannot be changed by action of a township board. Therefore, please let us know the basis. I specifically asked the board, and I'm not done. I'm not done.
That's why you didn't give it to us, right?
I specifically asked you all at that vote what your reasons were. It was very clear. I asked you. 2 of you refused to give any reasons. The third one, Trustee Sweeney, stated she was voting her conscience.
You violated my trust.
And
It's too bad.
It's on
the
video.
next thing is that I told Kathy O'Brien that it's all in the letter. So my point is, I'm happy to appeal. We're happy to abide by the board's wish to appeal. Cannot take a vote on this skewed resolution at 9:45 when we have just gotten it.
Sure.
It's so far.
So that would be your vote of no, and then we'll have the votes, let's see where they go.
I guess maybe you want to be the supervisor? Did you want to? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not going to.
Laura, you're playing with me, don't play with me.
I'm not playing with anybody.
Under
I
our
think
agenda,
it
and according
is-
to, I have a question for Dan Dow, please. Under the Open Meetings Act and our agenda, we have the right to vote on a potential appeal.
You already said, we have the right to
We have
vote on
the
these
right.
resolutions. Let's vote
And
on
you
it.
have voted
Already
to
said it.
I wanted to say it again because Laura's.
No, it's
correct in
okay,
saying
no, it's
that.
okay, you
No,
already
no.
said it. Let's just
I'm happy
go.
to work out a resolution with you.
No, let's just
I
go.
don't think this accurately encompasses the facts. Things like, you know, I mean, it's,
So
you
that
don't
would be your
put.
no. Okay.
Let's just vote.
Let's just vote.
This is a proposition. It doesn't mean that it's factual. If it's adopted, it doesn't mean that it's factual. It's something that's being presented for consideration and a vote. And it has no...
Well, certainly it means
No,
it's
it has
factual.
no evidentiary value at all in any proceeding. It is just a proposition of what
It's a
resolution
representation.
is. Now,
It's a statement that is being used in a legal proceeding.
it's not, this wouldn't be
No,
admissible.
they're planning to use this to give to IMRF.
It would
So
be
if you have to vote now?
No, this is just to record our resolution.
This is for the record.
This is for the record.
This has nothing
Oh, this is just so that you
The
can.
IMRF hearing will be de novo. It's
I'm
gonna
sorry?
It'll be de novo. It'll start over. It'll be a beginning at, the scratch. And the only issue is going to be whether that position requires 1,000 hours. And it'll be evidentiary in nature. This document is hearsay. It'll have no evidentiary value whatsoever. It's just a proposition, and it's subject to being disputed and deliberated on. But I think it's
Guys, they're proper.
It's proper to present, I do.
So we can take notice that, like you said, been working on it for a month. So you can call the roll.
You have to call the vote.
Apparently.
The motion is to adopt the resolution and to make it part of the record. Do we have a second?
Second?
Supervisor Moran?
No.
Trustee Jones?
No, this is merely grandstanding, once again, by the gang of three.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
So Dan, what you're saying is that does not go to IMR.
No.
That isn't the notice of appeal.
I don't know the number of the resolution, what the next number is.
You know, I don't have the next, the
Did you know, Doreen?
clerk.
I would know if I would check it because I don't know.
Doreen is not in the room.
Let's get that number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Should I get the number now?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Well, now we've got another hour of work. So,
May I ask a question?
yes, Sharon, can you identify yourself? There's not everybody. You have to identify yourself.
Sharon McLaughlin. I just have a question. I hear from a trustee, when I got a certified letter, I was notified.
They were notified. It was delivered to their house.
They were notified?
Yes.
No,
They were given the
we
letter?
were
It
not
was delivered to their
notified.
house.
That Laura wrote afterward.
No, the
Well,
letter
after
from-
January 23.
I guess I just can't
That
answer.
issue
I have
by
a
the
question.
town. I'm answering the question. Did
You
not-
were, it wasn't
It wasn't
directed.
directed to you.
I know all three of you want to be supervised.
No, you already said yes, and I'm saying no. You already answered yes, and I'm saying you were wrong in saying
It
that.
was given to you. I said
Which letter are we talking
Days
about?
after
the
receipt.
January 27th letter.
From the IMRF.
Yes.
We're talking about the January 26th letter.
From the
That's what I'm
IMRF.
talking about.
From the
We
IMRF.
did not receive it upon receipt. It was,
It comes to your mailbox. And
it's a
then
certified
yeah,
letter
Tracy signed for it,
and
then
never
Mikey-
contacted us.
And then Mikey delivered it.
Days later.
Days? Was the next
Days.
day?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Somebody had a question there.
I just want to know what the end game is here. Everybody's talking over each other. Everybody's got their
This is the most
own opinion.
Here's the
unprofessional board
end
I've
game.
ever seen.
What is the number?
I think it'll be one.
One.
No, I want to know what your end game is against this township.
Now we're done.
What is your end game against this township?
Wow.
I'm sorry. Now you want to tell me when to call to order?
No, you don't have to.
Yes.
This is an embarrassment.
It really
You all should be embarrassed. If you're
Thank
all
you.
attorneys
Thank you.
and,
Thank God.
I mean,
Thank God.
really, I wrote a full page and I'm embarrassed for the whole township.
Moving on to new business. We have to approve a continuing resolution 2018-1 and 2018.
So we changing that then?
Yeah, we'll be changing that.
That there will be 2018-2,
Two and three.
because we already just passed one. Or,
Yeah, that was the Eagle Scout.
if you can just make that.
So then-
No, it was this one. It was this one.
Well, the first one was the Eagle Scout, right?
No, that was just a proclamation.
Oh, that was a proclamation.
But now, right now, the one about the,
I see what you're saying, okay.
Okay, so this should be 3 and 4? Is that what you're saying?
no, just two.
Two and then three.
The other one is one, don't worry about
The
it.
one we just did was one, then these would be two and three.
No.
Or just one.
No, the resolution 2018-2, and the next one will be 2018 RB-1, like it is. Because it's a-
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
I would like a motion for that, please.
For motion?
Yes. I'm looking for a motion. This is short and self-explanatory.
For the approval, a motion for approval of continuing resolution 2018-1 and 2018
Two.
Two.
Oh, two. Okay.
And road bridges.
Motion for approval of continuing resolution 2018-2 and 2018 road and bridge -2.
What? Yeah, he's one.
Yes.
Because,
All right, take 3. Motion for approval of continuing Resolution 2018-2 and 2018 Road and Bridge-1. RFP is Road and Bridge.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can we call the roll?
Can we, I have a question. So what this does, as I understand it, is it says that because we have no budget in place yet, and we're awaiting to adopt a final budget, and we haven't even, as trustees, seen any budget numbers with the exception of the assessor's office as a recommendation. We are now, is this standard course that it's
Ministerial action that is done every year.
Wait, can I just finish my question?
Well, she's answering your question.
I'm not finished with my question. I'm not finished talking. I am not finished. Kitty, you're the one that says don't interrupt. I'm in the middle of my sentence. So our fiscal year starts March 1, and it is the end of February. So we have no budget as of yet, we've seen, no numbers with the exception of the assessor's office. So we're asking, what this is saying is that we have till the end of the fiscal quarter, first fiscal quarter, which would be the end of May.
End of June.
End of June?
Yep.
For a quarter?
Yeah.
March,
It's
May?
March 1st to June. March 1st to
June.
March.
It's not
4
end of
months.
June. Oh, it's 4 months?
I'm saying 3 months. March,
3 months.
April, May, end of May.
Thank you.
No, it's the last day to
It's the end of
adopt
May,
the
it's not
budget.
first
It's right
quarter.
here in the highway, in the perspective. The last day to adopt a budget is June. I thought June 3rd. But in any
That's
event.
if the fiscal year starts April 1st.
Oh, that's right. Ours starts March 1st. So it's June 1st.
May. End of May.
End of May.
Last
End of May, June 1st. So this is like, you would be doing this whether you had a budget or not. Budget has to be on file 30 days. So there's always going to be that 30 days because you're never going to have a budget in January.
And the theory behind it is that it gives the board the benefit of a full year's experience because the year doesn't end, to deliberate on what the actual expenses were for the previous fiscal year. So once you do pass the budget, everything will be controlled by that budget. So it doesn't mean that items that were spent on the continuing resolution will be adjusted based upon the budget that you passed. But it's the theory, it was given, it was to give the opportunity for those who passed on the budget to have the full year's experience before they make a decision on it. So
It's also, if I remember from the previous years, like what they were saying, in March you have to pay the bills. And we don't have a budget.
It allows us
So
to
this allows us to
spend,
pay
allows
the
us to
bills.
continue to spend
Spend,
without a
right.
tax budget.
In March and April.
And then we have to.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so if we were, so then the second part of my question is like, if we were to have some reduction, it would be prorated for the year, obviously beginning March 1st. So we would have let's say we didn't do it till the end of May, which now we have 9 months left of the year. So we would
Everything
have-
is retroactive.
It goes right
Any
away.
paying
Right,
increase.
That's the obvious, but I'm just
Right, right.
saying, okay. Have you, in past years, I guess my last question is, have you seen where you have gone further than the first quarter before you had a budget?
You can't.
Against the law.
It's against the law.
Okay, so you will have.
Absolutely. We did it in April last year, and we're hoping we can do it in April, but to do it in April and vote on it, we know you guys want to see it before it gets posted. So it was for your guys' sake to do it in May, actually. Because you can see it before it is publicly posted. The publicly posted one is the one that's proposed to be passed.
Can I just add something really quick? We have to have it posted in the clerk's office 30 days prior to
Right.
passing. It's like a preliminary
Right,
budget, but
right.
that can be changed.
Right.
That's not like. set
Within
in
the
stone.
first, I mean,
Right, I mean, you don't want to redo the whole thing, but if you realize there's a couple little changes in there, it can be changed.
McCall?
yes, you may call the roll.
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes. Okay, now, we have a discussion of, we have been working to try to update and revamp the personnel policy, which along with that is a privacy policy. And we've been looking at various. I missed that, I apologize. Everybody look at your calendar, and we can't have a half an hour discussion. We have to read the annual supervisor's financial statement. And that date has to be a certain amount of time before the annual town. So, April has a lot of.
Yeah, and it has to be done after actually the 14, right? Because
I'm having my preliminary audit with the auditor on March 14th. So, I mean, that's when I'm going to be doing a lot of the accruals and all that, getting all the books, all the numbers back in. So I'm not going to have beginning balance until the auditor's there.
We'll have it that week at the end of the week.
Yeah. We'll have it by the end of that Friday. I mean, probably Thursday.
Right.
Just so you know, it's a time frame.
So what's the date that this has to be done?
no, actually, it's between 30 days before the annual town meeting, but 2 days before the annual town meeting, we have to post those statements. 2 days before, so anything,
Not more than 30, not less than 2.
yes, not less than 2, not more than 30, yes. But after the 14, right?
Yes, after the 14th. And you need to give me a day to prepare that.
Well, it says April 8th. I file it with the clerk on April 8th, according to the perspective. So I'm gonna need those preliminary numbers a little sooner.
I won't have my bank reconciliations done. I don't,
April 8th
Is that a Sunday?
It's Sunday, it's a Sunday.
Well, then you go to.
Monday, oh, then you, no, Tuesday.
And then we have it, we publish it here. I'm looking for that.
There's no publishing.
Yeah, when Carol used to read.
There's
So
no
why
The
did you
first
say?
week in April is always the time we do the annual financials.
But I don't have to,
No,
why do we
you're
have to
just
do the
gonna
date?
sit and read it.
No, you don't need to.
She says we don't need to
No,
read that.
you reading it at the meeting, actual meeting, the
Oh,
super,
yeah.
not at the
Oh, I
annual
thought you said I
town
had to pick a date.
You have to pick a date that you're
Why?
gonna have the meeting,
Yes.
you're gonna read the statement.
I thought she just said I'm reading the statement at the annual
No,
town
you
meeting.
have to do it before the annual town meeting. The first week in.
Well, the only day would be April 9th. I mean,
It
so it
cannot-
has to be 2 days before.
No, no, no.
It's
No.
15 days
No, it has to be
before. Well,
posted.
But not with Denise's schedule.
No, no,
No,
no.
she's talking about
March.
March.
I'm in March 14th is when I have.
It's literally only 14 days.
That's.
No.
Yeah, from March 14th to the day this has to be filed is 14 days.
Because Laura's saying that the book says it has to be filed the 8th.
Right.
Yeah.
April
That's
8th.
3 weeks.
And if you get your figures, March 14th, that gives us 3 weeks.
No.
So a lot has to be done. So how am I picking a date? I'm trying to just pick a date that we can read.
Well, you're reading the information that the auditor gives you. That's your financial.
The preliminary?
Yeah.
Laura, pick a date from the 19th to the 5th. 19th of March to the 5th
We can't do it at the meeting on the
of
27th.
April. That's it,
Of
this
April.
is what it is.
Oh, so until April 5th, right?
Until April 5th.
So we can't do it at the March 27th meeting.
March 27th?
Don't we have a March 27th meeting?
We should do that, we will pay.
Yeah, you could do it.
No, we can't.
It's
We have
always-
bill pay.
Yes.
And we have a closed session, no, we can't.
I tried, okay.
I can do any day but the night.
There was a Hail Mary pass.
It's 15 minutes meeting.
Yeah, there's nothing voted on, it's simply just the reading of the.
I'd stay 15 minutes longer than March 27th.
Oh, we do vote, yeah, we do vote on it, don't we? Yeah, we read it and then vote it into, yeah.
Supervisor.
What was the dates you said between?
Between the 19th of March, right? Because we have the 14th this week. Between the 19th to the 5th of.
Marcia, when is Passover?
February 20, no, March 30th, April, no.
March 30th.
Is it March 30th?
Yeah.
That Friday night and Saturday.
All right, so I'm gonna do it Tuesday, April 3rd. Whoever shows up, shows up.
April 30th?
No, Tuesday, April 3rd.
What time is it, Laura?
7 o'clock.
You have to have a quorum.
Okay, well, if they don't, we don't have a financial statement. I'm going to tell you, does it work with you
Laura,
guys?
Laura will get it done. And it's gonna be like 15 minutes. It's not
Yes.
long. We'll get it done.
In theory.
Is that 7 days?
What's the
7
time?
p.m., yeah.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.?
Yeah.
The next thing is, I have been in contact with Vicki and Dana with several human resource attorneys to review, update, and revamp our personnel policy manual. It has to be done. We got a great offer by Kathy.
Gary?
Liz.
Gary Lynn?
Carrie Lynn, from Ansel Blake, to rewrite the whole damn thing was $2,000. It was just to discuss the, if you guys wanted me to keep looking, I can do that. We talked to her, another firm, she was by far the lowest, and, I can look in a third firm, but I think for $2,000 to have the expert from Ansel Blink is, you really can't do any better than that for your personnel manual. She wrote, this was a quote that she gave me, they're trying to firm up the actual engagement letter. So, it was her. She wrote the personnel manual and it's just a choice. Do you guys have any problem with that?
I've never seen the personnel manual, so I don't know.
It's online. And I'm sure that we can give you a copy of it.
Well, here, it's gotta be 5.
Can I address the board for just a minute?
Sure. We can also give Claire a copy of the personnel.
Yeah, that is true.
And you guys were given.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Okay, I have,
It was
I
given
have one copy.
way back
Somebody-
when you.
Doreen, do you want a couple of copies? And a copy right here.
I have a copy on my desk.
Okay, I just want to just give you some examples of why we absolutely are in desperate need of doing this personnel policy manual. I know we're running late, I'm not going to go over everything, but let me just say, right now, there are so many things in there that are outdated. We have not, we keep adding addendums to the back, but we have not actually revised it. There are things in there such as, there's things that talk about the dress code that aren't up to date. We need clear and current policies on employee benefits. Sections on employee discipline procedures do not meet our needs. Process with employee evaluations need to be changed. Laws and policies since 2010, which I think is the last time we did it, have changed. Policies for request of information for elected officials. Social media policies are outdated.
Some sections are just not clear, they're confusing. Sexual harassment policy changed, run hours for full-time, that changed, it used to be 32 and now it's 30. Days that can be carried over have changed for vacation. I go on and on, we are just in desperate need of redoing this. And, so yeah, if we want to get more quotes, we could, but we have to make this a priority, and Vicki and I are.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just want to let the board know, we have to make this priority. So when you see it, you'll see that there's a ton of stuff in there that is not even, it's just not the code, the laws are changed.
It has
and,
safety, it has
so,
all things.
yeah, we just have to get moving on it, so, yeah.
So, we've
I mean,
done,
is an attorney required to?
yes, every township, actually, each department that has over 5 employees is required to have a personal policy. We do. And Wally did his, and Susie is
And my
department
question
has
was,
used ours.
is an attorney actually required to do that? It seems
Yes.
like you could just make modifications to it. I've read it, and I don't
It needs a
understand
complete
it.
rewrite
You're
because,
saying it's ancient history.
yeah, the laws have changed. So many of the workers' comp laws, not workers' comp, the overtime laws, and yes,
Does
we
Toya
had, the
not-
prior
just
one
this-
was done by Barbara New. What was her name?
My
Miller?
question is this.
And she was farmers.
When it comes to this, I don't understand this, whatever it is, 1,400 townships. Why is this wheel being reinvented for every township? I would think that there's boilerplate standard things.
There is.
That
But
we
they're
would
just
have
not
to
caught
hire
up.
an
This is
attorney
from
to-
2010.
I realize that, I've looked at it. But I mean, isn't there language on township officials of Illinois where they would have that kind of information and it
But
could be incorporated into
this is an
procedure?
opportunity where we can make ours to include all of the things that we want to include. Privacy, social media has to be updated. I'm not talking about the website
So
or,
do we, okay, so.
I'm
let me-
talking about people
Just
going
say-
on the internet. We're not up to date on that at all.
So are we looking for?
Every township hires somebody.
So are we asking this attorney to give us advice on
No, she
things
will
like
read
the social media? So how does she get the direction? Isn't it just?
And she comes and meets and finds out. And there is absolutely a template they have, because she invented it, pretty much, Carrie Lynn, from Ansel Link. And so they have a template, but then you can add certain areas you want covered, such as social media, privacy, things that may not have existed in 2010. If somebody goes on a Twitter account, in the disciplinary policy. So obviously, each township has to do their own, everybody's got their own disciplinary policy.
Maybe what you're suggesting is that he says there's a template now that kind of cuts back on the cost.
Well, she offered, her general cost was $1,500 for a rewrite and $2,000 for a whole redo. To me, $500, it's not even, $2,000 is nothing for a scope of this magnitude. Barbara Miller, who did it in 2010, I think it was $80,000 when she did what you're looking at, which I think was sort of lacking and had to be corrected.
Why not get a proposal for the scope of what can be done and what the cost will entail for each particular item?
And if you guys
Anytime
want
we
to
can read personal
add
policy manual, we decide
any
it next month.
policies that are under this next section in the personnel manual, we're free to do that. But, and those were separated out because they're not so applicable.
Just a general question, is it something that cannot be updated by department heads?
No, you can't.
No, yeah. We really needed someone who really well versed, we don't need anything out. Yeah, I'm not comfortable doing that, I'm not sure, know every law and rule that would go in there, so I would like more of a professional.
What is the issue? Do you guys want me to look at more attorneys?
My issue is this, there's 1,400 townships, there's some things that could be a template, it would seem. I just can't believe that every
There is a
township has
chance
to go
that
through.
it will take more.
And I understand it's outdated, I get that. It's-
Well, I'll ask you this though, these townships also do bill pay, not in public open, so we're really gonna take their word for what they're doing is gospel.
My driver's on the
What Peter's mentioning, is the area side of caution, and I mean, I'm one of those too.
Well, I've taken many seminars from Carrie Krepler. She is one of the best. She knows township law inside and out.
There's literally no bounds in it, because, yes. Mr.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So if she's going to do a rewrite, is there some document that's produced that shows the original and then the changes that are added? So this way you can see what's been.
Yes, the personnel manual, there is an actual original personnel manual. We're happy to give it to you if you.
No, I mean, so, typically when I'm doing, if you say the contract and you're doing markups, typically you have the document and you're tracking the markups.
I don't want her to rewrite, I want her to read.
You want to make
the whole revamp.
Yes, I think the prior attorney did a bad
Yeah.
job.
It'd be cheaper for her to redo it than.
She has her own template, I want her, she knows far more than I do, and far more than I think Barbara knows. And
That's one thing too, is that we always throw out old law books, because although they're nice to have, it's always nice when you grab some old law books.
Right. Well, that's the problem. Going through this, even like after it was made, there's like 5 or 6. Yeah. You can't just fix by continuing to import. It's like that.
I would assume that there might be some questions that she would have though of us because it is tailored to every township is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So she would come back to us with questions about how do you want to handle the social media aspect of this.
And I'm not talking
And that
about
would be
website
employee
editorial, I'm talking about an individual employee use of social media.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about, 2 different things. That's why the other thing is under the next agenda.
We weren't the best.
Oh, this
Thank
is
you.
easy.
So it has nothing, just so you're clear, it has nothing to do with our website or the Maine News.
Okay. So I just have another question that is, because of the way that my request for under the new business that I proposed last meeting, that I included in the board packet last meeting and this night, there's a couple of things that I wanted to vote on, and it looks like I have to do it under this section because this is township policy, but it's more of a there's just a couple things on this that have not.
Well, no, we split it into 2 at Attorney Dowd's suggestions.
Okay.
Because the personnel policy is way different than the things you wanted voted on.
I understand.
And we couldn't spend like
But I
4 hours discussing each of these.
I have 3 things that I want to call for a motion to vote.
Okay, but can we finish this?
So, yes, but would it fall under, I'm just asking. So,
Okay.
because it's not going to fall under the discussion of creation of board committee, because that's not what I asked for. I asked for votes on a couple of
Well,
things.
but we don't know what policies you want created. Like, you have to
Okay.
write them.
Well,
That's why we were establishing a committee. Have at it. The 3 of you would be a great committee.
Okay, here's the thing that I have, written in writing that I submitted, or a specific board vote for the provision of thumb drives so that we can listen
You're getting it.
before we're voting
You're getting
on
it.
closed session.
We're like not there yet. You're
Oh, I
getting
didn't know.
it. It's literally
Let's
on
knock
the
out
next
French.
page.
Okay,
So you
that's
wanna
fine.
knock- so
That's
knock
not
out-
on here.
that's not-
So, I didn't know
It is
that.
on
Laura,
here.
I'm sorry.
It's on the next page.
Okay, that's one of the 3, but I want to discuss 2 other things, okay? That's not really,
You realize it's 20 after 10?
I know
that's
that's
fine.
fine.
Just don't know what to do with you.
That's okay, let's just.
I'm gonna be leaving shortly, because honestly, I can't sit much longer with the butt, so I'm gonna make a couple motions of my own to table certain things, not yours, don't worry. Can we finish this discussion?
yes.
Okay, so, I would make a motion to allow Dana and Vicki to pursue hiring Carrie Lynn Krafthauser with Ansel Lane to rewrite, redo our personnel manual. And may I have a second?
That would be at the cost that you said it would be.
Yes, assuming that she comes in around the same cost of $2,000. I mean, that's what she said, depending on how much more we want added in. You'll hear about it, I'm sure, at the March meeting. This is just so we can get an engagement on the board, because I'm not allowed to hire another lawyer without your guys' approval. That's what I'm trying to get.
So that's for the manual and her time for the manual.
Right, that's what she quoted, but this is pretty, you know,
Right.
we haven't gotten her engagement, hard person to read. So that's why we want to send her an email saying, yes, board voted, we're good. To continue pursuing.
I would second it.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? Hearing none, can we call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Okay, now, the reason this was put under creation of a board committee was because it's virtually impossible. I knew it would get to 10:20 or some late hour to discuss and vote on each of these things. So we don't know, you know, we have to have some kind of policy about this request for documents that you guys are doing. It's really been such a drain on the staff, and many of them are coming on Friday before a board meeting. There's literally no problem with getting you guys any documents. But Susan, when you ask for 10 years of insurance and salary on a Friday before a board meeting, it's really tough. And Denise is working until 10 o'clock. And like crying, I mean, it's just not right. And it's happening a lot. So I really do want to set, and I think it would be wise for you guys to have a committee, because it was the similar request of the township attorney. I think he might be going a little crazy getting requests from everybody. Used to be funneled through one person.
It's pretty common.
What I suggest.
Well, you're the one that
No,
wanted
what I
it.
suggest is a committee of the whole, so you have all these people sitting here until 1 o'clock.
That's my point.
These
You
are
tell me.
subjects that should be discussed among the board members, to come to an understanding about how they want the board to be conducted, and policies with regard to contacting staff, and, you know, I mean, it's up to you
These are things
folks.
you want. We're not asking.
Not prejudging at all, just saying, all your municipalities work through committees of the whole, I mean, and there's a reason for it, so it's amenable to, you know, I think, broader discussion on single items, as opposed to trying to get all the business done in one meeting, and then you have to focus on something like this, where you have very little time left. So that's just a suggestion of parliamentary way of doing it.
And it made sense to me, because otherwise you're gonna keep these people until 12:30. And that is later on the agenda, and that's just not fair. It doesn't allow public participation. It cuts down on that, as many people have left. So I think Dan's right. I think you should form a committee of the whole that has meetings, is open.
That's everybody.
And,
That's everybody.
and takes minutes.
So if we can
Thank you, Mr. Dow.
vote on the members,
Sure. And I'm
just the
happy.
three of us?
That's fine with me. Are you okay?
Sure. This is why there's.
And so you can come up with what you want to present for dealing with your requests for township documents. How you want to, like, literally deal with the township attorney instead of, you know, and what we're looking for also, if I may interject, is business hours. We're having a little bit of, you know, you send me something at midnight, I'm not gonna read it.
I don't expect you to. That's the problem. I think sometimes you feel this expectation like I do, but I work.
But I may
full-time, so
miss
can't-
it. If somebody's-
I can't do it during business hours. That's the problem I have.
Well,
I have to
generally,
do it.
like Dave will send, I mean.
I don't have that flexibility.
Oh my
I
gosh,
have
don't
to
quote
do
me,
it.
I'm worse than.
Well, you did send me
So,
That's
five,
right.
and one of
As
them
much
at
as I would
midnight.
prefer not to, I
Because
would
it
want
worked
to
all
find
day.
stuff late at night.
I don't think it's fair
I
to
don't have
either the board or the employees to send requests past business
Well,
hours.
you're just saying draft it the night before, send it in the morning?
Right, Just put it on auto send.
Or in the alternative, we just send it when we can and you answer it during the business hours.
I don't
That's how we do it.
I mean, many of you,
Lawyers do
I don't
that.
understand that your thing dings when you get something, if you don't remember it. I mean, it's just, it's not, you send it to Denise at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that doesn't, we're not expecting her to say, well, okay, we'll answer it
Oh,
now.
but then she gets all stressed out. I get stressed out.
That's
I mean,
what the
that's
committee
just
was
not,
before.
he
We'll
gets
discuss all that.
Saturday and Sunday. It's just not,
I have multiple, I mean, I do my work at night because I have a full-time job.
you're one person, Susan. I'm sorry, maybe you can adapt to the way that
I'm the same way, I'm as bad as her.
No, you're actually not as bad with respect to this midnight. I mean, I'm not being bad.
I understand.
See how she
I
says
don't
it's
deny
good.
that I've sent emails late at night. I
I
don't
should
deny
keep
that.
quiet.
But my expectation is not that you
I
respect.
don't think it's too much to ask
It's-
that your committee reconsider those.
We'll talk
I will
about
consider
We'll
that.
talk about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Same for requests of the township attorney. The next item, closed meeting audio tape retention. I don't have any problem, I'll make a motion if you want to provide, if you get, well, you can make the motion, I'm not making it, because you know what policy you want. You want a thumb drive, you want to give the board, and change the
Right.
law, which is permissible.
The other, right.
And, which I did put on page 2, but it's sort of, no, I'm sorry, on the page 1. To give the board a thumb drive prior to any destruction of closed session, right?
Well, I had asked to have a listing of all the votes coming up for any closed meetings that we're going to be voting on for the year, so that we're ready
I think
in
there's
advance and we
two.
don't have any last minute.
There's 3.
Okay,
Recreation, there's 3 closed sessions.
and
But we also, under the law, can do
Oh,
semi-annual.
since we, you know, I don't.
We were just not going to destroy them anymore. I think that's just a better way to go.
We don't want to destroy them anymore, so
Right.
there was for today something, but I
Okay.
didn't even,
Okay, that's fine.
because it doesn't.
Sounds
Right.
Yeah, because it's not necessary, it's just you can, right?
Right.
18 months.
I mean, it's one of those things that we were doing because we can't.
Okay, and I also wanted to,
You can keep them.
so that's agreed to and we don't have to.
Right.
Okay, so then a motion to, or not necessarily a motion, but to be copied on all correspondence related to any kind of, not all correspondence.
Well, that's what I'd like
but
your
related
committee to come up
Legal
with.
proceedings.
Yeah.
But I think it's important now, Laura, because we had both the IMRF and the Attorney General's office.
But I
And
disagree
if there's
with
more
your
correspondence,
assessment.
which would be those two, for active legal correspondence.
So, I'm sorry, can I short circuit this with respect to the Attorney General? So you have a FOIA. Do you want, I was actually thinking maybe I should resign and you could take over my position.
No, I don't want to talk about a FOIA committee.
No, but that's where the Attorney General correspondence comes in. I have never gotten any independent
let me
Attorney
give you an
General
example.
correspondence. Wait, I have never gotten any independent Attorney General correspondence that wasn't in the context of a FOIA or an OMA complaint stemming from a FOIA from Kirkland.
Okay, I read about it in the newspaper or in the blogs, that there's a current Attorney General review because of the fact that you had asked us to, that told us that we had to abstain on our votes because of the closed session meeting. I
You
didn't
got
get
that.
that. I have gotten nothing from you.
Yes,
on
all the
that.
FOIAs are.
We have not received, have you received anything? Have you received
The
anything?
FOIAs were.
We are trustees, and we didn't even know that there's an Attorney General review right now,
It's not
underway
great.
right
I
now,
got the FOIA.
reviewing whether that action was, we were told we had to abstain.
But it's all, okay, but it's with the FOIA committee, so what are we supposed to send you?
This, I'm asking, not as a FOIA committee, this is as a trustee, to be aware and do my job, and to
Well, then you have to
understand what's
ask,
going on in the township.
attorney
It's a
general.
little, I think you would understand, or anybody would understand, to find out about something from another source when you're a trustee of the township, doesn't make sense.
I mean,
When
wait a minute.
it's a legal
Yeah.
correspondence,
The-
when it's a legal proceeding.
I never received.
There's a legal proceeding
I
on the
never-
IMRF and also.
She had to send
everything
me,
related
I
to-
didn't receive, I don't know what to this day you're talking about.
Yeah, what are you?
What are you
talking about?
talking about?
The Attorney General is reviewing right now your,
Not mine.
when you had told us that we had
Oh,
to
because you
abstain on
called her,
votes.
you know,
Right.
that's right.
I know.
You
Yeah,
called her
yeah,
and you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
no, I think
Because I
that's
told
all
them,
that-
because I have them set up on Google
Forget
Alerts,
about
because,
that.
Kim, I have it set up on Google Alerts, that's how I found out about it.
Because you called them.
Because I know.
So you know about that and we don't have.
No, it's because it went to FOIA.
It's FOIA,
It's
you
FOIA.
get
Do
the
you want to change
FOIAs.
the FOIA committee? That's what I'm saying.
I am saying this does not have to be part of FOIA.
But it
Any
is.
township trustee should be aware that we're being investigated by the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, that's
Who
what it
would
is.
not think that's reasonable? That's just reasonable.
That doesn't go to FOIA.
That has
Yes,
nothing to
it
do
is
with
always
FOIA.
part of FOIA.
Well,
Okay,
maybe
so I
it
need to
is,
submit a
but
freedom
we
of
should
information.
have a legal,
No, if you,
if there's
You're
a
so
legal
deliberately
action,
missing the
we
point.
should, yeah, we should get a copy
Okay.
of it.
I
You
am
can't
asking tonight.
have 10 cooks. You know, one of the reasons there was a problem in that earlier OMA opinion is because 18 people were contributing to this, memo.
No, the procedure was
can't do
wrong.
that.
The procedure violated OMA, that's what I
Okay, I'm not
asked. And we
getting,
fixed it.
but it's, you have to understand how incredibly hard it is for our attorney to get, like, all of these things from all of you guys. So what is it you want?
You have, if you.
Okay, I will be very specific. This last court case, this last.
You have it now. I gave it to you.
No.
Yes, I did. I absolutely did. I had Dan email it. I absolutely
Do
did.
you have it?
No.
I don't.
No, that was the opinion.
Nobody has.
Absolutely.
No, I've been waiting for it, Laura.
And I
Trust
don't
me.
get it.
When I
My
saw
call
it.
against, right? What I emailed was the response to the Attorney General to that one we talked about tonight, so.
Mr. Dodd.
What you're asking for are copies of complaints that are registered by the Attorney General.
Thank you, yes.
You should get those.
Right, there you go.
Great, and
Can
if
you
it's
send them
registered with
to
Attorney
her?
General, or if it's registered with the
I sent her the,
or outside.
I said, no,
government
on a regular basis, can you send them?
yeah, hopefully it's not too regular.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to.
Depending on how long we're here.
No, I meant,
But I mean,
investigation.
in our
I agree
policy,
with you. I agree.
So
I will say
we're gonna
something.
make the policy that you send them to the board. Because otherwise, I'm violating the open meetings, okay? So I want you, as a township attorney, you're always gonna be notified of it, because you're always
Right,
gonna be
correct.
writing the
I'll
response.
distribute it.
Thank you.
And the last issue is when a trustee does request an agenda item, that it be put
I agree.
on the agenda.
I did.
So I didn't have all these things put on the agenda. That I
Well, they were just
specifically
more
requested.
generally.
So, and.
also, I would like the-
I did get a lot of the, I got the documentation that you gave me, but I guess I had thought, based on what you had said during the last board meeting, that there were board policies other than, what I did receive from you after that was a lot of resolutions. So
Those are policies.
Is that everything we have as far as board operation policies?
As far as I know, we did, again, at least 30 hours of a search, going as far back as during
Okay,
cookout.
so we really don't have, we're starting from scratch. We
And
don't
that's what
have
this
board
committee
policy. We don't have
Yeah,
any board
that's
policies.
that's what it's about.
Well, ordinances and resolutions are definitely
Yeah.
board policies.
But board operation, I mean, how we conduct our board meetings is what I'm looking for.
And what you're saying, Mr.
So-
Dawes, that's what the committee should look into.
Absolutely.
Right.
Adopt the policy.
Okay, good.
Adopt the policy.
So, can we move now on to page 2, where, we're agreed that we'll establish a committee of the whole, is that what it's called? Dan?
Yeah.
Even though it's not the whole.
Right, but all and just set a meeting to.
Yeah, that will appoint these three
The
to be
difference
on
is
that
that there's
committee.
no voting on committee of the whole, it's just discussion.
Right, they have to
And then
bring
you
us
report out
a
at the regular
proposal.
meeting and then take your action. But it gives you more time to
And they
deliberate
should
on
meet.
limited subjects.
And they can meet
Isn't
here.
that a violation
Yeah.
of law?
No, it's open.
No, it's a committee of the whole, it'll be open and
Okay.
taped,
Okay.
and,
Just no decision, no voting.
right,
is
there's
taking
no
place.
decision, there's
It's
no
just
voting.
a more
They just come up with ideas and, how they wanna
Discussion.
draft things, and then they present it, just like Park Ridge does. And
Yes.
then presents it to,
Right.
so would you be ready to present at the March meeting? Or do you wanna wait to establish, like, we could vote now, or I could table this to the March
Why don't
meeting?
you work on an agenda first, and you provide all the information that's available, and then.
I mean, they have to
We're
come
working
up
the
with
agenda,
it,
yeah, so
Sure.
that people know in advance what's gonna be
I'm
discussed.
just asking what you want,
What I'm
right?
suggesting.
This is all up to you.
I think we can do that.
That's a very good idea.
We're gonna come up with an agenda and decide if we can do it for the next March meeting.
So are you asking me to vote now, right now, to create, you want to create right now?
Sure.
Okay, so can you make a motion?
I make a motion to create a committee of the whole in order to discuss and deliberate on.
No deliberate, develop.
Discuss and develop.
Proposed draft policies, right?
Proposed
You don't have to
draft
specify
policies.
any item now, I mean, that you can do that
Right.
when you call a meeting.
Second.
All right, having a motion and second, is there any further discussion? All right, and Clerk Jalamas, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to table the closed session request, which is our final item on the agenda, to the April 3rd date that we picked for reading.
Did we skip this? Sorry, the 10:30.
Oh, my God, one of the most important things. We did. Thank you, Susan, I appreciate that. Okay, so, under OMA, and this was again Attorney Dowd's suggestion, but I really think it's warranted. Under OMA, a meeting has to be a reasonable date and time. It is not really fair to our employees who, they probably want to go to great lengths to protect. To have them, go home at 12:30 and...
Look how dedicated I am, Laura. I'm here and I'm drinking water and everything.
I'm saying it's not fair. We've generally been going till midnight, and then they have to be back here at 8:30, and many of them live far. And it's not safe, and it's not fair. Again, it's also not fair, in my opinion, to the residents, because at 10:30, who's going to stay to participate publicly? So what other townships do, what other boards do, I looked at school district, I looked at Park Ridge, they do have an ending, so Dan had suggested 10. I suggested 10:30 as, a reasonable, if we can't get our stuff done in 3.5 hours.
Well, I'd like to make a comment that I don't believe employees, why have the requirement that employees have to
Well,
say?
there has to be,
That doesn't make,
Well, because many times you're asking them to do it.
no, we don't, no, just.
I don't
Doreen
see
literally-
any requirement to have employees.
All right, Rich tapes it.
We have.
Doreen
Right.
literally just copied the personnel manual.
Which is great.
Right.
Dana answered several
Dana
questions.
has thing, and Denise is asked questions of Manny, and Deisha has to stay in Dan.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I mean,
I'm not afraid of going home.
Well, I will tell you, my concern is.
you were the one that wanted it.
My concern is the things that sometimes come up at 10:20 that haven't before, and I will say one other thing, I just don't.
I'm saying in
I don't want to
general.
stifle debate, I think that's what gives us the ability to, and, put an arbitrary timeframe on it.
But then you have to come up with, you can't keep making these agendas.
Right, you add agenda
At some
items
point, you have to
Thursday
say-
after you get the agenda. You've had a month
At
to
some
add
point, you
agenda.
can wait until another month
Right.
to put your agenda item on. Everything is not urgent discussion. And
That
so
was
at
sort of
some
my-
point, there's a compromise. Either you modify the agenda, that not everything is urgent, or you limit discussion. Not limit, that's a lot more.
No, or
Reasonable
modify the agenda. There were many things tonight that weren't urgent.
There are things that could have been discussed at another time.
And, you know, in your committee of the whole, I would like you to discuss a consent agenda, like Park Ridge does, that we could do for passing all those
So the committee will discuss it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great thing to develop, you know, that we can pass a consent agenda. That
We'll
would do
we'll
away.
discuss it.
Yeah, discuss it. But anyways, so this was a goal, absent exigent circumstances. I mean, 4 hours for a meeting is 4.5, because we started at 6:30. So 4 hours, sorry, is really quite long. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Can I just suggest then that if we're gonna do that, that we put the things like officials' reports, maybe even the attorney's report and administrator's report at the very end, because that takes up a lot of time and we don't get to old business and new business.
I'm fine, I don't have any.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
the committee will discuss that.
yeah, I don't mind moving the ordinance.
So
I mean,
can we
half the time
table this,
I
let
wouldn't
the
have a
committee
report.
discuss that and then come back?
Yeah, but I'm talking about, okay, so we're 10:40, and so, you want to table it?
Discuss it in the committee. Come up with a-
Right.
All
Come
right,
up with
so,
exceptions to the rule, you know, come up with rule exceptions, and, you know, the best practice, there's always exceptions. to
well,
things.
we know.
But that's a good
right.
suggestion right there.
Okay, so you have a motion to table that to March 27th?
Just to table it until we bring it up again.
No, we need to set.
Where do we do? Oh, the time.
We definitely need to.
Can't you just include it on the agenda of the committee when they decide to meet and discuss items? I think.
Yeah, but I still think, I mean, I'm still gonna put it back on the agenda for March.
Well, if they want to.
But, I mean, are we never gonna,
No, you
say they don't?
can always bring it back, but,
Yeah, I just said table it, Joe.
So that's your motion? Is there a second?
Second.
What was the motion of service?
motion table,
Motion to table.
To table what?
time limit on the.
Time limit.
And Clerk Tillonus, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
No.
Trustee Jones?
I'm okay with tabling
Debbie, yes?
it. Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
And I'm only not okay with tabling it. That's,
Do we need a motion to table the closed session, so,
okay, so now I would like to motion to table our proposed closed session for the sole purpose of discussion of performance and compensation of specific employees of Maine Township to 7:15 on April 3rd.
Can I just interrupt and say something? Because we have a situation.
We always do.
Yes. The thing is, March 1st is the last day for any electors to request the agenda item for the annual town meeting. We
Right.
cannot pass the agenda before March 1st, which would be today, if we could, but we can't. So, and then reading the perspective, the March 26th is that the clerk must post the agenda and has to be in the paper. And March 26th, and actually we have the meeting on the 27th.
Right,
We had the same problem last year.
right.
So I don't know how we screwed this up 2 years ago. It
Well,
was the
thank you
exact
for
same
pointing that
problem.
out.
The meeting was on Passover, if you recall.
Well, then, no, then we change the meeting, but we're
Yeah,
not
so,
changing
but
the
you don't
meeting.
have to have a meeting to post an agenda.
We have to approve the agenda. How you
No,
going?
it just says that the electors
No.
have to read it.
No, I read it.
Yeah, so it's,
yeah.
oh, so we have to move the meeting. That's what you're
Right,
saying.
so-
March, I have.
No, we're not moving the,
That was good, the water and the.
this is a day after, that we can do it, so.
You move the meeting up there?
No, not the meeting, just to have the extra meeting, and you guys going to do the extra.
So rather
For
than
the
doing it,
19th, the last, the 19th.
It's not too late.
Not too late.
I don't know.
So instead of meeting on the 3rd or the 19th?
No, another meeting on the 19th, that you're going to the closed session, and then we will just approve the agenda for the annual town meeting.
On what day?
I can't do the 19th, I'll be out of town, the 19th
So
or the 20th.
16, 15?
Those
Is
are
that
fine,
for
or the
March?
20th through the 23rd.
So are we getting
No,
rid of April
no,
3rd?
no.
Oh, no, 'cause you need it by the, yeah.
I need by the 19th because I have to put in the paper, and actually the Springs Journal is only Wednesdays now, so I cannot do
So we're
Friday.
talking about March 16th? I can't do March
It's a March,
16th.
15?
But then that,
Ides of March.
we can't have an April 3rd meeting on that day because these won't have the figures.
No.
You're just talking for the one,
There'll be 2 meetings.
we're talking. you're
we're not talking for closed session and to do this. Right.
No, you guys going to do the closed session with my agenda our agenda going to be approved. And the other meeting
And
on
then keep
the,
Laura's,
whatever,
April
third,
meeting
I
on
believe
April
so,
3rd.
for the just.
I'm good with
minutes
it, March
and-
15th, it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
That's fine for me.
Yeah.
What, can we combine the financial statement with this one? or-
It's
No,
too late.
that's the
Yeah.
point.
No, it won't
It's
be
too
ready.
late.
And then.
And Denise won't be ready.
Yes.
What is this one
That's-
called?
Hmm?
What's
This is going to be,
Closed session.
Closed session for the sole purpose of discussion of performance and compensation.
Yeah, closed session.
Plus setting of annual town meeting agenda.
Yeah.
That's in open session. And then obviously we have to vote to go into closed session.
So what's the date?
Is it 15 of
Thursday,
February?
March 15th is going once, going twice
What time?
at 7
7
o'clock.
p.m.
I'm going to make a motion to do that. Ken?
Yeah, second.
Wait,
Only
it's
kidding.
7.
We'll do it at the dentist's office, it's fine.
I just got you out of here 2 hours ago. All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Oh,
Can
sorry.
I ask you a question? Is
All in
anyone
favor?
interested in wanting to do it?
Wait, you have to vote, sorry.
I'll call.
Is any,
What time is it?
have interest in wanting to do it earlier than 7?
No,
Okay.
No,
I mean, we're always here for Bill, I mean,
I know.
we do, it's fine by me.
6:30?
No,
no, they can't, no, it just doesn't.
all right.
I'm trying to accommodate everybody.
Second.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota? Yes. Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
Can we have a motion for adjournment?
I just want to make sure, on our resolution 2018-1, there's signature lines for all,
2018-2.
no, there's signature lines for all the trustees and also the clerk. And we had the 3 that voted yes that signed the resolution. Is that sufficient, or should the clerk sign it? And if the clerk signs it, and the others that say no, they sign it, mark it no, or?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
That's what I thought. You put a, yeah, yes and a no down for it.
Oh, wait, and you guys don't leave, I gotta do this
But it's
resolution to
still passed.
continue our government. This keeps our government open. So you can't leave till we, Wally, laugh.
Well,
Oh, for the love of God. His government's closing
call in the morning.
tomorrow.
Come in. We'll come in and sign.
Call him, I'll tell him, I'm gonna.
Call him and tell him he left before he got his government. It's unbelievable.
Maybe,
No, I thought his fiscal year was a month later.
maybe it's a late night download.
For the road.
I thought you said
Would they, until they show we can 50%.
His government will end, and it will, he's going to see.
Yeah, we can call him.
I just can't believe it.
You can always resume with his choice.
That's what we have to say now. And then I need, I'm making a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Well, we're gonna wait for Wally, or no?
Pardon me?
No, because we'll bring it over in the
Pardon
morning.
me?
and he can
You have a second.
Please what?
All right.
All in favor?
Oh, okay. Didn't tell me.
Aye. Kim